pushing mid as you mentioned, and he's keeping back towards that box of the map, which is the only outer turret that remains for the set of IG. And this is slowly but surely giving me flashbacks of the first series that these two teams played at the very beginning of the split. It was FPX taking game 1 from IG through pure fistfighting, through pure skirmishes and team fights right here. IG are looking to defend that last outer tower that they have remaining. The Shy a little bit too far forward, but take some hurt.
Now the siege goes to the bot lane tier 2, the last remaining tier 2 turret available for Invictus Gaming side. Gala gets chunked out as well, as that lethality Callista from Awesome is starting to do a lot of damage. Throwing out those spears left, right, and center, hoping to get that next wave ushered in. Speaking of waves, Care has one in the mid lane. He's not stopped. That tier 3 is going to go down, as Care on the Silas has really gotten powerful in this one. Level 17 on this pick with the Rod of Ages in inventory, and with too many waves to handle, Invictus Gaming are bleeding on multiple areas of the map. They send another teleporter from Sheer. They want to continue the play.
Yeah, the juggle is excellent right here from FPX. They're crashing in the mid lane wave, as you can see right now on your mini-maps. Shadow is backing up Care as well. They're going to be attacking 2 towers at once. Mid lane inhibitor tower is going to go down. They're going to start tagging that bot lane one as well. The cannon is just about now going to die. So FPX, there's a loose cannon. It's called Sway. Going towards the mid lane. He's going to reveal himself eventually. But another wave coming through from the bottom of the map. Mid lane wave crashed as well. FPX are doing a fantastic job with their waves in this power map.
They got just a little bit more. It has just expired, and now Invictus Gaming might feel a little bit more brave to go forward here. It does mean that Care is able to take down that full inhibitor in the mid lane essentially on his own. The pure might of that Silas able to get super minions down the mid lane for the next 5 minutes or so. And FPX, a 5,000 gold off of a very successful Baron power play. Remember, we thought IG were the favorites coming into this series, but FPX not having any of it.
Absolutely, and I mean, IG are still the favorites in this series, right? But again, flashbacks to series number 1. FPX take the first game in that series, and right here they look extremely competitive. And what is really exciting about this particular game and the series overall is that FPX are willingly taking the skill check champions, the Silas into the Annie, the skill check bot lane 2 versus 2 for Assume and Dway that has been going fantastically well so far. I remember Elk was one of the first players to bring out that sort of lethality Callista and really shine on that, but Assume right here has put it to its utmost potential, playing that poke versus poke together with Dre down that bot lane, and so far so good. They managed to take that inhibitor tower over in that mid lane, which is not the worst for IG. Usually the worst towers, inhibitors to lose are the side ones, because you are the furthest away from the neutral objectives, right? Depending on which side they spawn at. Now FPX are looking to claim a little bit more control over the top side of the area, because they know, I don't think the game is ending unless they can take the next Baron too.
He gets spotted out by the clone of Dway. Nicely used W by the Nico to make sure they spot out any potential flank angles. And now Jake is going to get collapsed upon as Shadow jumps forward. Look at Care going over the blast cone. Already Jake is forced to flash away. Look at the stolen away Nami ulti. And Dway goes over the top of it all. But on the back side of things, the Shy is looking very powerful on the Rumble. He's overheated, able to survive with that scrap shield. And IG are fighting back. Gala gets another kill. It is so far a 3v4 as now FPX are on the run. Gala doing a lot of damage so far. The health bars on Fun Plus Phoenix are low. Shadow, Awesome, and Sheer looking to try to escape. Sheer forces Tivers away, and it looks like that is enough to make sure no more blood is shed.
Okay, this is looking more and more like the old series, Graves. That's all I'm going to say. A back and forth, constant team fighting, both teams winning their respective fights, and Dragon coming up in just 40 seconds. Let's put this one more time. I want your attention right here onto Care, because he dives the backline, he grabs the Nami ult, but everyone ignores the Shy. They focus on JJ, try to kill that Zinzao. JJ creates enough distance, and everyone just gets slow cooked. They just sit on top of the equalizer, completely ignoring it, and the Shy absolutely cooks them.
Gala flashes forward to finish off that kill onto Care. That gets him a pretty nice chunk of cash, as he now has 4.5 full items at the 32-minute mark. This is a powerful Lucian, and let's not imagine that IG are down and out just yet. They are very much still in this game. And although FPX have a slight gold advantage at this point, and it could be the soul that they pick up, we see the power of the Invictus Gaming members right now, of Gala's Lucian, of the Annie for Rookie. And it's going to come down to this. Shadow went back to base. He's going to be late to this fight, and that means IG can start this Dragon up.
Yeah, he's got that GA, but remember, he does have the ultimate. He can jump in whenever he wants to shear.
I just burst this,
pretending to be a
but
shield
instead,
here.
they bought enough time for Shadow to arrive at the Grand Starfall. He might be a little bit too over-aggressive. He already has that Guardian Angel pop. The pop blossom from Jway is big, and Gala goes down alongside Mako, and FPX are now fighting a 4v3. But look at JJ, and look at the Shy. He's toasting Assume, takes him down, and now it's a 2v2 overall. Sheer and Care looking to try to chase down the Rumble and the Xin Zhao, but they will not be able to. So back to the Dragon they go. They have the health bars on their side, and it is a soul that FPX can pick up.
What is going on? That's another 3-for-3. Care versus the Shy. Who can do the most damage in these fights? Oh, they're looking.
They're hunting.
Looking. The Elance.
Oh, whoa.
Oh. And this is why you don't pick Fiora in a 1v1. Because you can't play top lane champions. That's right.
Carrot is
I
ulti
said
on
it.
quick cast. I'm going to give him that excuse. It was on quick. You don't obviously have it on normal cast when you steal away the Rumble ulti. That's unfortunate. He's on a ward right now. Oh, the Shy! He just says, hey, this is how you use that equalizer. Canceling Care's base, and that's going to cause a tempo disadvantage now for Fun Plus Phoenix. Remember, Shadow is still dead, and JJ is able to come right back in with Smite in hand. He did not die in that fight, and the rest of IG will come in and deny the soul once again. What a game that we have here between two teams that are former world champions on opposite trajectories so far in the standings, but they've made it damn entertaining so far.
Yeah, I think FPX really need to rush the Baron right now. Look at that huge wave that's inside the base. Now only the Shy is going to reset to take care of that wave, but now they know they have numbers advantage. No TP onto the Shy means he cannot instantly join, so FPX can take full control of that Baron area. Now, of course, JJ is looking for some revenge. IG are around. They want to fight.
Remember, FPX not only has the Smite advantage for Shadow, he's in the pit right now, but they also have the Kalista Ren at their disposal. JJ's going to try to get into the pit. He gets knocked up by Sheer, and that means 1 plus Phoenix secure the Baron, but can they win the fight in response? The Pop Blossom! Oh, it's a dis-synergy with the Fate's Call. Nobody gets hit by the Nico ulti, and that means both soul laners will drop with ease as IG find 2 kills.
Another incredible equalizer coming through from the Shy. And look at the Baron pit. Look at what the walls look like. They're perfection. You get stuck through a choke point, you get absolutely cooked. And IG are pulling a reverse Baron right here. They're pushing into a Baron up base.
And they have 5 members strong. They could look for even more than this mid lane inhibitor potentially. It is Shadow, Awesome, and Jway, but no ultis are available in the bot lane of FPX, so IG are going to go for the throat right now. They're going to have to burst through these Baroned up minions, and that's going to be a tougher task than they might have originally expected. And now with the death timers coming up, IG are going to have to make a decision. Do they go for the end right now, or do they head back? It looks like they'll choose the latter and go for the retreat.
Yeah, it's just a little bit difficult to push right there with all of these Baroned up minions. You do not have the damage to burn through them. You do not have that equalizer. Well, you did. The Shy used it on the backline to try and push off FPX members. However, IG on the retreat, they're going to grab a couple of buffs. And let's watch this one more time. Look at those 2 choke points, entry and exit from the set of Baron. These are perfect terrain for that equalizer to land. Straight through from the Shy. Everyone gets cooked. Jway and Asuma there was a little bit of miscommunication, but I think at the end of the day there was nothing to fight for, right? So even if Jway's ult did land on anyone, it's not like FPX would have gone straight back in. They did sacrifice 2 of their members, they got the Baron. Did they lose Inhibitor Tower for it? Sure, was a little bit not the best you can get when you do have Baron. However, they do still have 3 Baroned up members, and they can actually try to push.
Shy with another nice equalizer. Sheer is going to be forced to use that unstoppable onslaught to get out of dodge. And that means Invictus Gaming have a little bit of a timer on the map right now. Without that engage from the Scion, they can look to maybe push and be a little bit more aggressive.
And here's where Kalista positioning really does hurt. Again, all the disruptors on the side of IG, the Sinzal, the Tibers, you've got Gala dashing in, the Shy with his equalizer. They make it so difficult for Assume to position on that Kalista or play the team fights. You either walk on the equalizer and melt to get down some auto attacks, or you can't get close enough. And it has been the story for Assume right here. He hasn't necessarily been able to leverage all these items that he has got onto that Kalista, and now it's a 5-item Lucian full crit, which means that that quote-unquote help that we're looking for to take down that Scion, it has already arrived.
Yeah, you don't consider Lucian normally to be a tank shredding champion, but when you're this fed, you're 2,000 gold ahead, you're full item ahead of Awesome right now, who has, mostly lethality items. You're going to be able to do some quick work, even against some of the frontline members of FunPlus Phoenix, as we are approaching the 40-minute mark here of this game. But trouble, 3 dragons apiece. That means the next one that goes over to either team will mean the Infernal Soul belongs to them, and that's spawning in less than a minute's time.
I'm gonna make it even better for you. I'm gonna say that the next dragon that goes down, it's game end for one of those two teams.
Yeah.
It's going to be most likely the last team fight that we get for the entire game. Full almost items all across the board. You've got 5 item Lucian, 4 item Rumble on the side of IG. I feel like the Shy has had such a fantastic game together with Gala right here, and let's assume does really find his foot in all those team fights. It's gonna be really, really difficult for FPX to come back to this.
And FPX currently do not have control of the Dragon Pit or mid lane, with that inhibitor currently still down. And we see Awesome having to clear out a wave of supers before making his way down to join the rest of his team. And that means that JJ can go in immediately as the turret goes down. Sheer finds a 2-man knockup though. Jway with a pop blossom does not find the backline. And here comes the rest of Invictus Gaming. Shadow to be able to get one, but on the backside of things, he's in a whole lot of trouble as it's Rookie with Timbers tearing apart FunPlus Phoenix. Another knockup lands on the Sheer. Only him and Awesome are still alive, and this will be IG taking control of this game number 1. Awesome goes down to the culling. One more to Gala to finish it off, and IG come all the way back and win game number 1 over FPX.
They break the curse from the first series and they take that game for themselves. And the Shy, what an absolute banger of a game on this Rumble.
Game number 1 went the way of FunPlus Phoenix the first time around, but in their last series of the group ascent stage, it will not be as easy. Invictus Gaming open up the Nexus at 40 minutes, and they now have match advantage.
All right, that's a win for IG, but let's not pretend we didn't see what happened in the mid game, because, well, okay, the stream went down, so maybe we didn't quite see what happened in the mid game. But there was a little blip right there for the side of IG, where FPX were very dangerously getting a lot of kills. They were getting to their item breakpoints before IG, and it actually looked really dangerous. I think at the end of the day, it came down to Pantheon sort of falls off, so he can't really get that assassination that he wants to without anyone else diving. Jway couldn't really find his angles to really impact those knockups in the backline. I think the biggest one of them was that Asum was playing lethality, right? You are great to poke early in the laning phase. You're great to play against that Lucian Nami to put some pain down. But when it comes to those late team fights, your consistent damage throughout the team fight is lacking. And that Lucian was piercing through the Sion.
And not just the Lucian, it was the Rumble as well. Take a look at the fan votes that you see up here on the top of your screen. Everyone thinks the Shy was the MVP. You called it out at the end of the game, Trouble, as well. He had a massive, massive performance on this Rumble. Tremendous equalizers to start up some team fights. And at that very end of things, he was also just dishing out so much damage. And I would not be surprised at all if he runs away with the MVP here.
Yeah, and I feel like the most important part is also when you think back to the draft, that was a B1 Rumble. And this is what we're always talking about, like, B1s need to be valuable, and I feel like FPX completely forgot about the Shy. Like, he was the first one to complete 2 items on the entire Rift. He was constantly ahead. Yes, Sheer played an amazing defense and great macro, and he was everywhere that IG were looking to attack. But through that, the Shy kept slowly chipping on the towers, getting the tower platings, pushing more towers, getting those first 2 items that shred through the Sion. He gets the solo kill. Like, he was an actual menace throughout the whole game, and he ended up being ignored up to the very end where it just didn't matter anymore.
And that means that, FPX back to the drawing board here. We were really singing their praises during that mid game because it did look like stuff was starting to come together for them, right? Awesome and Jway were coordinating really well in that 2v2. Care had a really good start to this one on the Silas. Even Shadow finding kills, finding a Baron steal as we just came back from that little break and that little technical delay that we had. And now, after losing that series, after some of their late game or their early game damage fell off, FunPlus Phoenix have now lost 7 games in a row. They've on a 3-match losing streak. All of those games were 2-0s or 0-2s kind of against them. And even just coming off of yesterday, a pretty brutal 2-0 loss to Weibo, who are on a pretty massive loss streak themselves. FunPlus Phoenix, they were doing really well in the middle portion of the season, but if they lose this series in a pretty bad way, if they go 0-2 again, that's a pretty rough way to wrap up your Group Ascend performance.
And I feel like we go back again to the point where it just feels, the team feels a little bit leaderless in terms of like maybe shot calling or how they want to play with their advantages. I feel like especially playing through that Kalista down the bot lane in the early game like really worked out for them. Like Asuma and Zway did have Gala and Mako's number throughout the majority of the game. Like look at the gold lead, right? They were in the gold lead for majority of that game, and then IG win one fight towards the end. It doesn't tell the whole story. I feel like IG throughout the game were probably the better team in terms of how they wanted to play the game, how they wanted to play those team fights, and this is how they slowly but surely like chipped their way back into the game.
And you saw the damage numbers on the Shy. Over 1,250 damage per minute on this Rumble pick. Absolutely incredible stuff. I wonder if we're going to get a look at what that fight was that resulted in FPX getting super far ahead. We're going to start here on this 1v2 of the Shy, which is a good sign because we saw this, and I'm really curious to see how FPX did win a fight earlier on to get themselves that lead.
Yeah, because it looked like we're just talking about that IG had 2 items all across the board, and FPX didn't. I think this might be the fight that we're talking about. Okay,
look at that.
Fantastic flash through the wall, the 3-man knockup as well. That was a great fight right there. I'm not sure how it resulted being a fight like this because Rookie was a little bit late, so it might have been a little bit after the Dragon even, but FPX did manage to get like that miraculous huge triple man knockup from Nico.
Yeah, nicely played by Sheer and Shadow on the back end of things as well to finish that fight off here. And now we get back to some stuff that we did see. This was another situation that FPX was looking to find a little bit more of their lead, but they got collapsed upon. I think this resulted in either Sheer going down, and I think this is what started the Baron take, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, let's see. Sheer gets caught right here, so he's gonna die, and then he's gonna be in gray screen for about 40 more seconds. So IG, they feel like they can take this, right? I feel like JJ took it upon himself as well. He's like, don't worry, guys. I got this. Like, I'm going to knock him out when he tries to flash in. He's not going to get anywhere near to try and flash. If you time it correctly, the knockup will knock you back enough that when you try to flash in, you'll just actually face plant the wall. So it was the right idea. It was just not quite the execution we expected.
And some of these fights were just so close. And the one person who really helped win them for Invictus Gaming was the Shy. We saw a bunch of really solid equalizers. Again, as you mentioned, kind of cutting off all of FPX at that choke point on the top side of the Baron pit. It's like splitting up that fight tremendously. That resulted in IG getting a couple of kills, and then really even despite the fact that FPX had Baron for a little bit, actually found some advantages on their own. And IG just kept winning these fights in the large part because of the Shy.
Yeah, and I feel like, again, going over to FPX, I feel like they were a little bit miscoordinated. Like in this fight that we just watched right now, Sheer flashes forward, gets the double knockup on the 2 carries, but there's no follow-up. There's no one around. Trey doesn't have flash. He cannot follow up. He doesn't get thrown in by Assume. You know, you have a lethality Kalista, so you kind of have to play around it, around the poke that this Kalista has, at least at the early stages of a team fight, and it just wasn't quite there, which is what's a bit confusing again for FPX. However, for IG, this is a huge shift win right here, as they lost the first game earlier in the split series that they played versus FPX. Getting that first win right here means that they can go maybe to their more skill check champions in that game number 2, since could work pretty well since they got that win now.
Yeah, and remember, IG really need to win this series against FunPlus Phoenix, because if they lose, they're going to be sent immediately to that play-in stage, locked into that 5th position. That's BLG versus Top Esports series then has no effect on who makes it into the top 4. And so if IG want to stay in that conversation, it has to come off of a win here against FunPlus Phoenix, which right now they look like, obviously, they're in the advantage of doing because they took that first game. However, FPX is going to need to bounce back as we get the Shy as our MVP. Almost no surprise about that one.
No surprise at all right there. 31% of his team's damage share. He was absolutely everywhere. And again, the fact that FPX ignored him for majority of that game, he was able to do so much damage, not only in team fights, but in terms of side laning, taking towers down, pushing in waves. He was definitely the, I want to say the unspoken hero, because even though he gets the MVP, there weren't many like super flashy plays that made it obvious.
Yeah, the solo kill was one, but then the rest of it was just good team play overall by IG. But the Shy was the big beneficiary in that, picking up a ton of damage with the equalizers, with course, the Flame Spitters and the like, and resulting in Invictus Gaming taking game 1 of this best-of-3 series and leaving FPX in a position where they could end their season on what could be a 4-match losing streak. They want to try to right those wrongs and try to find an answer back after this break. But before we head into that break, we want to thank all of you for sticking around and watching us here on LPL English, and especially want to say that we are grateful for our Coffee and YouTube subscribers who help level up the show. A lot of the initial payments go into upgrading the broadcast, but a huge bulk of it pays on-air talent and content creators. You can subscribe to our Coffee, which is linked in the chat, to unlock perks like early access to content and the ability to ask interview questions for our unique on-site interviews. So thank you so much to all of you who have been supporting us on Coffee. Again, check the link in the chat if you want to join our membership group there, and we'll see you in a couple for game number 2 of FPX versus IG. Welcome back, everybody, to LPL English. Drapes in Trouble here for game number 2 of Fun Plus Phoenix up against Invictus Gaming. It looked like FPX was going to take that game number 1 for quite a bit of time, but IG, with a really nice comeback, end up winning that one in just over 40 minutes. But before we get into the draft of game number 2, we have to ask you, have you ever heard of MOBA Trainer? It is a new app that teaches you League of Legends with a series of puzzles. You just boot up the program and work the puzzles every day to improve your game knowledge. You can select the puzzle from the map, answer the questions, and unlock more features. And we're going to do a puzzle right now. Before we wait for the game number 2 draft, we're going to be doing jungle clear routes. So this is part of the path that we've already been on. And Trouble, you said that you might need a little help on this one. I assume you don't play too much jungle in your time.
Oh, no. It's just that there might or might not be a pro around, so I wanted to check them more than me, you know?
Oh, it's definitely.
Definitely.
You know, you could say it one way or the other. I don't know if that's the right pro that you should be looking for here.
That's your jungle, okay?
Yes. I got confused for a second because he was in the top lane. This is a game from some EU solo queue, as we are playing Yorick jungle. Now I will say I've not played Yorick jungle before. Now here's the question: what do we do in this situation? We have all of our camps up. What happened?
He's got 1,100. He has to recall. He recalls here. He takes that and recalls.
I think we can recall. Yeah, let's take this and recall then.
There's no way he goes through a full clear again.
There you go.
Okay choice. Okay, what was a great choice?
Full
clear.
We have so much gold.
He has nothing in his inventory, man.
Well, let's see what happens if we full clear. I'm just confused. So I guess what must have happened is, like, the Yorick stole all the topside camps of Nunu, and then now it just has like all 6 camps to take after picking up 2 kills. I mean, this is just the Thanos dream start here for Yorick. So I guess we'll take it.
Just double full clear without being interrupted. Yeah, okay, bet.
Let's do another one here, as that was just one question. Again, these test a lot of different portions of your game knowledge. So now we're learning a level 1 invade, and we're going to be playing Poppy jungle here, seeing what exactly we are cooking up here on this level 1.
Yeah, shout out to Gothic3 Enjoyer for playing Poppy, pretty based.
I see Woolite in this game. It looks like another EU solo
Caitlyn
queue
herself
lobby.
is playing Lux, yeah?
Yeah, with the Caitlyn.
Okay, what's happening here? We don't even know what the enemy comp is. Okay, we do, wait.
They're level 1,
the bush.
not the best.
You can't trap there because they've seen Caitlyn. You have to walk.
Let's check the next bush.
Yeah, let's check the next bush, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Haha. Excellent choice. I mean, it's just good, but I made it excellent. Hey, let's pat ourselves in the back, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Continue invade without sweeper.
We're 40 seconds into the game. I feel like they would have had to be very quick to put a sweeper in here and us to not have seen them at this point. So I feel like
I think you just continue without, right?
Continue
invade without sweeper?
I think we could just continue it. Yeah, let's just run it.
Yeah, run it.
Oh,
whoops.
They said that they said that we want to sweep here. They didn't even sweep here. Okay, whatever. Now we're waiting. Okay, now we're looking to see if we can catch the Varus and Nico. Oh no! What do we do? Do we start this off? I think we have to because our Caitlyn's gonna just get targeted, right?
Wait for teams engage. I mean,
what engage do we have?
Now,
we have Poppy. We're the primary engage. We have to go.
Lux. Nah, I think we engage with E. We engage with E, and then Lux follows up with a Q.
Yeah, we have to go in. Let's land the stun. We'll catch the end of it maybe on our next segment here. But if you did enjoy that, you can subscribe for 20% off and unlimited puzzles by using our code LPL20. Proceeds will benefit the MOBA Trainer designers and the LPL English unofficial broadcast. So start leveling up your game today with the help of a MOBA Trainer. And with that, Trouble, we are into the draft of game number 2, FPX, back on the blue side this time. And they've locked in a Yorick for sheer.
Yeah, they've locked in a Yorick. Let's see what the Shy chooses to go up against that Yorick with. Jax has been a lot of the times what we see as a reply in terms of like trying to reply to the split push later on. But right here, we can also have something like Yone and Lilia coming through from JJ and Rookie. It's exactly what they picked up last time when they went up against the FPX. This time around, it's going to be the Skarner. So I'm expecting AP mid to come through from Rookie here then.
I remember the Skarner used to be like the most OP permaban champion. It's fallen a little bit in terms of priority as we've gone throughout the 2025 season. Same, yeah. I mean, but it looks like we're playing kind of a 2025 split 1 composition for Invictus Gaming, because these were champions that were very popular back in January. And hey, that's when IG was playing really well. That's when they were, you know, doing some good stuff in the playoffs.
Right, and let's see what Shadow chooses to go with here, because the two most prominent junglers, which are the Pantheon and the Zinza, have been taken out. I'm thinking Maokai could potentially be something that you come up with, or things like Sejuani. Usually when Skarn has been picked, there usually tends to be like a response in terms of another facilitating jungler to try and match the engage and disengage potential right there. They're going to actually drop their jungle over to 4 or 5 and pick the full bot lane for Assume and Sway.
MF Alistar is an interesting combination. I feel like normally we see MFs paired more with like a Leona or something like that, and nicely done by IG on the backside of things. They're locking in this Orianna because that's a combo that goes pretty well with things like Alistar and Misfortune, so they want to make sure Care does not get that, as well as making sure they get a nice team fighting mid laner for Rookie as we head into that second phase of bans.
And I'm wondering right here if FPX want to potentially ban something like a Braum, really good into the bullet time, really good into melee supports as well. And right here, IG doesn't necessarily care too much about having an extra layer of engage, because you do already have the Skarner. You've got a lot of control of area with the Orianna, as well as the Jax with the flank. So it's fine if you go more towards cater towards like a Braum kind of composition, potentially even with an Ezreal to poke through. Never mind for the Ezreal.
It looks like they're basically on the same page as you. We'll see if the Braum gets banned away next, as that would, again, be a pretty powerful way to finish off this Invictus Gaming composition that already, as you said, has a ton of engage. I was going to mention that Lilia for Shadow could have been an option because there was already a lot of AD on FPX's side, and, you know, could pair that alongside maybe, I don't know, like another solid initiator for Care. He can play some AD champions himself, but it's going to be a Rise ban as well here for Invictus Gaming. So they're really targeting these AP champions and want to try to pinch that pool specifically here.
Oh, with Braum gone right here, I'm wondering if you want to go towards something like a Jhin, or I was about to say Varus, but Varus is banned away. So yeah, the only other thing that can actually like stat check in lane and has pretty good AD ratios is Jhin. You can actually set up for things like the Jax and the Orianna as well with Jhin, whilst not necessarily being too much in the thick of things. But let's see right here. They're looking through Milio and Rakan. Rakan makes a lot more sense. Again, disengage, engage can help with like setting up the Orianna ball as well. And again, both FPX and IG have left that AD carry for R5.
Very interesting development that we have seen. You know, it used to be like support gets R5, then, you know, sometimes the top laners get it, but now AD carries more on the table here. As we get Akali locked in for Care, by the way. That's going to be going up against Rookie, so Care looking like he's more comfortable on these melee picks. Things like, as we already saw in game number 1, the Sylas, and now the Akali that was banned away from him in game number 1, you remember. And now on the other side for IG, what will they wrap up their composition with? The Xayah would provide a lot of safety from something here like the bullet time and some of the initial engage from Shadow, but it creates a very basic wombo or just a basic team fighting composition here for IG.
I'm just scratching my head a little bit here, and I'm like, I'm just a little bit confused. Especially when the Rakan is sawing on R4. Like, okay, one of his best pairings has traditionally been the Xayah because they've got some synergy right there, sure, but you're looking in an assassin. You want to be diving the backline. You want to be assassinating someone. You're not assassinating this Xayah. This Xayah is like one of the best anti-dive champions, one of the best anti-dive AD carries overall, and extremely safe, especially when you have the ult, but now you've got the addition of the Rakan as an extra layer of protection right there. So I feel like Care is going to have to play a really good game to try and find that backline for himself.
Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward game to play the Akali. I mean, the Xayah locked in last adds a lot of, you know, safety, as you already mentioned, but we'll see how much of an effect it can have. You know, a signature champion here for Care. I think it looks like a lot of comfort locked in right now for Fun Plus Phoenix. Shadow on an engaged champion like the Sejuani. Awesome, of course, got a pentakill on the Misfortune earlier on this season. And so if you're FPX, going back to some things that you know work well, as you do need a win here to stay alive in this series and to prevent yourself from dropping 8 games in a row to end your season, in at least the regular season, going into the play-in stage.
It's also a redemption from that game number 1. I feel like FPX knew they had it in their hands. It was just in terms of execution, they just couldn't quite close it. And right here, they get their second chance in the series to try and turn this around.
Let's do it. Fun Plus Phoenix looking to bounce back here as IG still on the hunt for that top 4. A win here would place the ball into BLG's court. They would need a win over top Esports as well as a win over Invictus Gaming in their last series of the season to get themselves that automatic berth in the playoffs.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他们。
Standard 5-point start here in this game number 2 for both teams. A little bit different than that early invade we saw from FPX in game number 1. We saw that it had some ups and downs in terms of how that led to Shadow's early game. So it looks like they want to play a little bit safer this time.
It's actually, like I was about to say, 2 different ways you can do when your ward, when the ward has been spotted on the Raptors. You either start Raptors and then you actually completely disappear, or you try to avoid the Raptor camp and you just completely disappear off the get-go. Right here, it's going to be instead, they're going to sweep the first one. Kair's going to drop a second one. And Asuma and Jway have already taken a little bit more of a forward position right here in lane versus Mako and Gala.
Bot lane actually went pretty FPX favorite, at least for the start of things. But then eventually Gala was able to really start to dish out some damage on his full crit Lucian build versus the lethality Zaya that Austin had. So hoping for a little bit more success in the later game here is FPX. They've locked in some champions that can operate better, of course, in those later stages. But they're a little bit more vulnerable as we do see Mako getting headbutted and ignited very early on in this laning phase and chunked to 100 HP.
Yeah, Alistar plus Misfortune, especially when you can pin down enemy support in the early game. Again, Misfortune, one of the best stat checkers in the early game. Her actual spells do pack a punch behind them, so she's a big lane bully right here. Jway and Asuma, level 2, already taking hits on the tower.
So good start again for Fun plus Phoenix. Remember, they got up to a very good early lead. They're up 4,000 or so at some point in that game, but IG, of course, making a pretty tremendous comeback as we now see JJ spotted by FPX on the Raptor pit. As you mentioned, those boards providing a lot of information as both junglers know that the other is on the top side of the map trying to impact this York versus Jax lane, which so far has gone relatively neutral. However, it looks like the Shy has pushed for now.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried right here for Shadow because she's about to go with the top side of the map, but top side of the map does not necessarily belong to FPX. So he's going to have to do a 180, especially after his blue buff, to go towards the north side. This is where he has priority. If he doesn't assume his way to step inside the river, they will have the way pushed to do so. Oh.
Immediate headbutt pull have already gone. Forced to pop both of his summoner spells, but does land the Blade Caller. Mako not finding the knockup with the Grand Entrance onto Awesome, which means not as good of a trade as they were maybe hoping for, as now we could potentially get a 2v2 set up on the top side of the map, but it looks like JJ opting to go for the crab instead of the play and forcing the Shy to use his flash.
I mean, kind of clever right there from Shadow to play for the gank right there. However, right here, I think he's just going to lose double scuttle. JJ is just going to zone him from getting inside this river, and as you can see in the mid lane, Rookie does have priority, so Akali ain't going anywhere anytime soon, and JJ can he's
bullying him.
in his own jungle.
Sends him into the wall, just kind of punching him on his way out. Shadow's trying to fight back a little bit here. Does have the aftershock, so provides a little bit of extra tankiness, and now Rookie has arrived, and so is the Shy. Shadow flashed away from the counter-strike, and now the Shy doesn't have any mana, and Kair will jump in with a shuriken and pick up first blood for FPX.
IG are playing with their foods. Sheer has to flash away. Kair walks a bit too far forward.
Oh yeah, but now Rookie's out of mana too. JJ's trying to find him with the extended effect, but doesn't find the knockup. And now IG are in a very precarious situation as the health bars are very low, the mana bars are low. Things are looking grim for the IG mid-jungle duo. Here comes Sheer. The Shadow gonna look to jump over the wall as well, trying to lock down JJ potentially. There comes the W. They're going to try to find this Permafrost stun. Rookie finds another combo of spells and is able to take down the Sejuani, but Kair is able to jump over the wall with double ups in hand and secure feats of warfare for FPX.
3-0 for Kair's Akali, 4 minutes in. Remember how we said Kair's going to have to play super well to try and find assassinations into this backline because IG's backline is so damn protected. Well, right now, he's been given everything he needs to snowball that early game. And oh my god, IG, just take the damn crab. Sometimes just gonna get given. Take what you're given, brother.
Yeah, decided to go for the fight afterwards, thinking that they had mid lane prio, but Rookie and the Shy ran out of mana very fast in that exchange. They were unable to pick up enough resources to finish off any of the FPX members. And Care, playing an energy champion, right? He can regenerate that all the way back to full, use all the combos, use all the spells that he wants, and that resulted in him getting 3 kills for himself on this Akali. And now he's going to be in a tremendous spot in this game.
You know what we said about IG and picky champions that really want to rumble and fist fight? Right, that I don't think that was your fight to take, IG. Even though it looked like the Shy and Rookie should have been first to these fights, it was actually Sheer with a first dip into the river. So he was there to back up Shadow before the Shy was there to back up JJ. And by the time the Shy jumped in, he had absolutely no mana to finish what he started. And it was just a little bit of confusion overall from IG. I think it was a little bit miscoordinated. Now, a bunch of flashes are missing, a bunch of very important summoner spells. And with Care 3-0, he's heading towards what I would assume could very easily be a Rocket Belt right here to try and reach that backlane for him.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's the first selection here for Care. However, Rookie's still doing pretty well in the CS department. This range versus melee matchup can be a bit oppressive at times. And while Care will have kill threat once he hits level 6, right now, Rookie has all the opportunity in the world to bully out this Akali from the laning phase. And you already see that 15 CS lead trying to mitigate some of the gold lead that Care has collected for himself with those 3 kills.
We have Shadow over on the top side. The Shy, no flash.
Another stun here.
He's
The
got a
Shy's
ward.
going to try to leap strike over the wall. Does get to the ward in time. And so prevents another kill from going over to FPX.
Okay, that was a very clever W coming through from Sheer to try to interrupt the Shy's jump mid-air with the wall. But you have to time this to absolute perfection because it actually takes a while for the walls of the W to go up from the Yorick from the second you place it. So it would have to be an insane timing right there for Sheer to make this work. However, the Shy is under tower, still no flash, pretty low on HP, about 40%, and Shadow is looking again, Rookie on his way.
Yeah, I mean, they got to make this play quick, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do it fast enough with the whole wave still to come crashing in, and Rookie on the way with the shockwave in his hands. It looks like FPX going to try to start this one, but as soon as the Shy presses the R key, they know the play is off.
Honestly, had Rookie just waited a second longer, there could have been a chance that FPX would have dived that. They've actually got tendencies to sort of overstay their welcomes, especially when they're looking for a dive, right? You want to make your time worth. So a lot of the times they'll just over push the boundaries like they did in game number 1, just to try to get something back for the time that they've wasted. Right here, Rookie's going to show up in time, luckily for FPX, to not take that extra step forward. However, there's going to be the first dragon going down for the side of IG as the Void Grubs are being traded on the other side.
So right now, FPX have generated a nice gold lead for themselves. It's about 1,000 in their favor. However, IG have a very good team fighting composition once we get to that point, right? We have the Skarner, who can lock up everybody for the Rakan ulti to come in, for Rookie Shockwave, for Gala to had a ton of damage, and the Shy on a bit of a flank fighting angles as well. So if IG can get to that point, they're going to be feeling comfortable, even though FPX have some tools to try to fight that. As we're already going to see another play on the Rookie. Remember, no flash, he pops the shockwave, but it's only on the Jue, who has the Unbreakable Will on top of him. So much crowd control utilized by that cow. And that means the 4th kill of the game will go to FPX, this time on a Shadow.
You know what, I'm really wondering how in the world does Sejuani get that one, but hey, I think people really do underestimate the physical damage that's coming through from Sejuani as Gala is trying to chip away that mid lane tower. He's gonna grab a tower plating for himself, as assumed comes around to try and defend that one for FPX. And again, IG, you will always see them scramble about, try to get something for themselves. Shadow has remained over on the top of the map, does have the ultimate.
I mean,
I do not have a wave to make this work. Yeah, doesn't have ult either. But hey, you know what? With how much I've seen from FPX, every time I see them closer down, I'm like, they're diving. They have to be diving.
They're frisky. They like to throw those hands, as we've seen so far here in this game. And it's worked out decently well for them. Start this one off. Trade, though, could be JJ looking for something onto Sheer, who has been relegated down to this bottom side to match up against Rookie in the bot lane. Speaking of the bot lane, they have rotated here to mid to generate some prio. Not much to fight over the map for the next few minutes or so in terms of major objectives. So just imagining more farm being picked up, waiting for those first item completions for all of the big carries on IG specifically before we look for another big fight.
Yeah, what's to visualize this for me. There's a rocket belt currently sitting on an Akali. I look on the other side, there's like boots, a tier, a ring, a tome, and another ring. That is full-on Bootyard sale going on in Rookie's inventory, trying to grab components that eventually build into items, right? However, Care right now is a true threat. So I would love to see FPX use Care as their own artillery. Take him around the map, play with him around objectives, try and get early kills, get more gold onto this Akali, and snowball the heck out of this.
You know, IG are going to try everything that they can to make sure that doesn't happen. And that means try to find plays where Care does not have an opportunity to go for. And one of those could be Sheer on this top side. The Shy playing very nicely to make sure he cannot take any sort of damage in response. And that means that the Shy will be able to get that kill onto the Yorick and finally get IG back into a position where they can at least pick up some gold.
Clever play from the set of IG, playing away from the Akali, but this time around they can't evade it.
Oh, nice flash from Rookie, gets away from every bit of crowd control that FPX threw at him. And now it's Shadow, stuck in a 1v3 as Gall's arrived in the fight. Rookie picks up the kill on Jway, who dies under turret, but Awesome has come in to try to reinforce things for FPX. Gala with one more auto can try to take down Shadow, but he's playing around the bush vision beautifully here. Assume cleansed away from that feather call, and the bullet time will come out. Gala's chunked down to 500 HP. And FPX looking to collapse now. Teleport came in from Sheer to try to pincer Invictus Gaming and force them back underneath their tier 1 tower.
Well, I asked the question, can they evade it? Because they couldn't get away from Care. That was a really lovely flash out there for IG over on the bot lane dive. But FPX managed to pull it off. BT now completed for Assume's Misfortune. Mercs purchased for Care onto this Akali. 4-0-2. Let's watch this one more time. The rocket belt to connect the E, and he's already taken a pretty substantial trade onto Rookie right there. Managed to land yet another Q. Now reminder, there's no knockup right here from Mako. He walks too far forward, finds Jway and Sato. But this flash right here from Rookie to not only evade the Sejuani, but also the pulverize coming through from Jway. Now, of course, didn't end up very happily ever after because Assume comes around as well. However, it was very well played from IG. Sorry, from FPX.
Yeah, it looked like IG were going to be able to really turn that play around, but FPX did a nice job to respond. Most notably Awesome, rotating down to the bot lane and picking up a couple of kills for himself, and Care actually picking up a kill without dying in that fight is also really big. Speaking of dying, Sheer was in danger of doing just that as the Shy. Starting to get strong here on this Jax, and now Gall is forced down to half HP as Awesome took a nice trade for himself as well. We're getting to the point where this Dragon is now available on the bottom side, so mid lane control going to be imperative, and we can see that being issued by Jeje. Shadow throws out that frozen tomb, but is not able to find anything on the Gall as he used the Feather Storm to get away. And now all of IG on the retreat as mid control belongs to FPX for now.
That is the freest dragon ever. Shadow with fantastic ult right there, just simply so he can take that R off of Gala. The only reason that Xayah has been picked right here is that backline access that Care possesses. So Xayah without R cannot walk into neutral objective territory. Very, very well played right here from FPX to consistently pressure Gala, take his ults, play through Care. Now, of course, the one unsung hero, again, for the side of IG, has to be the Shy. I want to remind everyone that before Yorick was the monster that we see him be right now, Jax took his place. He is the OG, split push, annoying guy that takes towers super quickly, and right here he's been put into this matchup to actually take Yorick straight up down. And the fact that he's also 1,000 gold up, IG have been able to leverage that advantage on the side lane. Hold up.
They're going to just get another kill on Sheer. I mean, he's unkillable. The Shy in this side lane. They're going to send another teleport in from Rookie to burst down this tier 1 turret. So Sheer's having a really rough go of things right now. And if IG want to win this game, it's going to have to come through the Shy again.
Oh, it was a tower fight between FPX and IG. IG are going to take this one. No feat of strength yet. One neutral objective away for the side of FPX. And either 2 objectives or 2 kills for the side of IG as FPX respond with 2 towers of their own. One over in the mid lane and one on the top side of the map. Now Care is going to back about 1,600 gold in the lead. And you know what? This is really funny. In game number 1, we had Silas versus Rumble. It was Care versus the Shy. This time around, we have Akali versus Jax. The players have remained the same. It's Care versus the Shy.
And you know, shout out to Care. He was somebody that we were not super sure about being the big franchise player for FPX. He's the longest tenured member on this team at this point in time. But so far, in this series specifically, you know, had some other moments throughout the year as well. Really trying to make a name for himself as a true mid lane threat here in the LPL, even against the mights of somebody like Rookie, you know, who's been around for so long, who's won championships here in this league. And they're going to look for another play here. Oh, the wombo combo's massive. It takes Gala down. And look who it is to finish off Mako. It's none other than Care. A double kill in for the Akali as FPX obliterate the bot lane of IG.
There's already a needlessly large rod in this inventory and more to come for Care as he grabs another double kill. 2.2k up on his counterpart Rookie over in the mid lane. This is going to be another uncontested neutral objective coming through. The Shy actually thought maybe he was getting flanked about on the top of the map, but the TP also saves that bot lane tower as well as he catches up the wave down the bot side. And yeah, this is what happens when you walk the ramp of death.
Let's watch this again. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, the wall that went down right there. Just before Mako and Gala spotted that. The second he puts down the control ward, it's already too late.
Yeah, the control ward's not going to save 5 members of FPX just running at you. I guess 4.
Hey,
as Shears
at least I can say that they didn't do this blindly, right? Because it would have been insane.
Oh, another engage there for Jway. Forces Gala to use that Feather Storm a little bit early, so not bad, all things considered here for the side of FPX. Yeah, they picked up the feats of strength by taking a Herald down after killing the bot lane, so they now have another set of advantages for themselves and a 2,000 gold lead. But before we get too excited, Trouble, this is a very similar situation that we were at in Game 1.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like if you look towards that late game, IG have a much easier to execute composition. It's like very normal front to back-ish where you're looking for the big shockwaves as the Shy is going to be looking for a friend around because there's 4 FPX members on our team.
Alright, the Shy was doing pretty good against Sheer, but let's see what he does against the rest of Fun Plus Phoenix. It looks like not too much just yet, but he's able to survive long enough. And Mako comes in and makes sure the Jax lives. Jway coming in, a huge knock of a Care over the wall as well. He's going to find the kill onto the Shy. They're looking for Gala. He does not have that ultimate at his disposal. And they will get finally 1 kill back here as Jway has died, but the target's going to be JJ still underneath the tier 2. The tower's heating up. They're going to let it reset, but the Shuriken flip for the wall is going to allow for Care to follow. But will it be to his doom? Mako finds the knock, but Care is still unkillable. He will not find a kill that he wants, but FPX still in the lead.
They'll take the 2 kills, they'll take that bot lane tower, and that was the funniest engage from Care. He just couldn't quite connect, he was too far away from the fight. He takes the Rift Herald all the way in to try and connect with IG members. 7-0-3. The second he presses back, there's going to be a Shadow Flame in his inventory as well. There's 2-item Akali for 20 minutes. That's once again, they isolate the Shy. There is no much stuff between these 3 members, right? There's a Bloodthirster, Ultimate Misfortune, but that's about it. That's level 12. Jax with ultimate. The rest of IG fly to his aid. But look who else flies in! It's Care, the guy with the most gold on the side of FPX with the Rift Herald. Takes down the Shy. Gets Gala as well, if I'm not wrong, right there as well. And yeah, there's a Shadow Flame and a Magi's in this inventory.
And FPX, they got the competition to fight, now going to do just that. Another teleport comes in from Sheer, the Shy very low. Care going into the backline, perfectly executed onto the Jax. And the Shy is down for the count for the next 35 seconds. Jway looking to try to chase down JJ. And on the backside of things, it is IG looking to fight things back in a 2v3. Mako very low. Assume looking to chase people down. Sheer massive on the front line. And Jway looking to cut everybody off. Center in and close things down onto Invictus Gaming. And IG have nowhere to go except right forward on FPX. Gala still very healthy, still full HP. He flashes in, and Gala is able to get 1 back, but the rest of Fun Plus Phoenix collapse upon the rest of his team and force IG to another 4 kills down.
A big victory for FPX, a big loss for Care. Overextends, loses a bunch of stacks on his Magi's. But that's very little to sacrifice for a huge win right here. FPX really, truly need to capitalize on this game. They're already 0-1 down. You mentioned how they on a huge lose streak right now, and winning against IG would be huge. Of course, IG's future is at risk right here. They do want to solidify those playoff spots. They want to be in the top 4. And it starts with their hand. It starts with winning this series versus FPX. Let's watch this one more time. Okay, right here will engage upon Rookie. But what happens later on is what's very impressive right here. Care will use the axes down towards the Shy. And right here, IG will get captured. So you'll see that Care and Shadow block them from one side, and then Sheer, Assume, and Sway will actually block the other side. But what happens right here is that JJ very nicely holds onto his ultimate. So the second Care tags him with the E, the second he jumps back, he'll pin him down with the ult, and this is where Gala looks for the ult.
And it's nice because you pick up a shutdown on the Care. That's 1,000 gold onto the Xayah. We'll see if that becomes impactful here for this Xayah and for Invictus Gaming later on. But the rest of the team ended up going down, and it looks like IG still in some trouble as Rookie is going to get stunned up with that Glacial Prison. Jway going to jump in with another knock-up as well. The Seraph Shield going to try to keep Rookie alive for a little bit. The bullet time over the top, not enough. And now the Shockwave sends Jway back in. Not enough to take down the Cow. But as we say, Trouble, even though a big shutdown was set up by JJ to be collected on the Gala, FPX now a 5,000 gold lead and can start up his Otacon.
Yeah, I feel like FPX were overcooking right there. They tried to kill Mariana with just Sedge and Alistar. There's just not enough damage between the two, right? And JJ is still around, which means they can start the Atacam. They didn't kill Rookie. Now, Cat has been left on the top side of the map. He needs to start running because JJ is wrapping around, and the rest of FPX are nowhere near that neutral objective. But again, a lot of the time we have seen FPX being a little overzealous, over-pressuring on the issue. And right here, they are looking for Care. He does still have his Shroud. Needs to hide. Won't have to use it. Does have a tower.
So that's maybe the problem that's going to be opening up here for Fun plus Phoenix. They have themselves almost a 5,000 gold lead. They have a 2 Dragon to 1 lead. However, their objective taking is not the best. You have a Sejuani, and you have this Misfortune who is not able to rip through these objectives as much as, you know, say a Jinx or a Varus or something like that. Even a Xayah here that Gala has in himself as well. But you know, we're gonna try it again. Otacon's gonna get started up. We see the Shy currently on the bot side, and a reset pulled through from Gala and Mako means they're gonna be very late to this play.
Shy does have the TD. He wants to join. JJ could join through the wall, try to go for potential steal, but IG have to pressure through the top side of the map. But someone is waiting in the bush.
They're poking, they're hunting, they're looking to see the engage, and finally the trigger is pulled. They're going to go on to Gala. A huge impale comes through from JJ, but it's not enough. Carry dashes forward and takes down the animated carry. But the shot on the back line. Counter strikes onto 3. Looking to try to jump onto Shadow as well, but he has to now flash away from the Permafrost Sheer. Very massive as well, as there's the Maiden doing some work. It's an effective 4 to FP3, but now the rest of IG's coming forward. They're going to try to take down another, but Awesome's able to pick himself up a double kill, and Rookie out of mana is forced to run for the hills.
Yeah, IG tried to turn this around, but Rookie had no more mana to assist with the damage. And Assume being alive and healthy, Shadow being alive and healthy means that this Atakan is for the taking for FPX. No smite on the other side for IG, means no chance to steal. And that's another one team fight for FPX and another neutral objective. And again, Shadow and Care have been on point with finding the backline of IG.
I don't know, Trouble. These fights are a little too close to comfort for my liking if you're FPX, but you're going to take a win here. And as we get another look at this one, I think JJ and Gala played this out really nicely, but it just wasn't enough to fight the wallet nip at this point.
Actually, very nice flash pulverize right there from Jway, and a huge impale leads into a huge shockwave from Oriana. But that snipe right after meant that Gala could not get away. The very good part right here is that they kill Akali really quickly from the side of IG, and that there's so many targets moving back and forth for IG that FPX cannot really pin them down anymore. They have run out of CC. Now here's where the problem lies, right? JJ commits too far forward, but Rookie is out of mana. Gala is down, the Shy has died, the only damage dealer who's Rookie is out of mana, so they couldn't quite capitalize on a very nice flank from JJ.
Gala gets chunked out right before his Featherstorm came off a cooldown, so that's going to be not the best situation right now for the side of Invictus Gaming. It's now the Shot getting targeted, the bullet time not enough. As Sheer thought that he had enough damage to pick up a lethal onto the Jax, but it was going to be instead the Shy heading back to base. FPX, though, full control of the top side jungle. Baron is up, Dragon is spawning in 10 seconds time will be sole point for FPX if they can claim the Cloud Drake. And it looks like that is going to be their priority. They're going to send another wave into mid lane and then run right down to the objective.
And I just want to remind everyone that it's a 5,000 goldie, 3.5k is currently sitting onto Care. That is 2 stack Medjais. It's really not worth its money right now, especially since he's been dying pretty early on. So if they manage to neutralize Care and not allow him to get that kill over in the backline, it all lies on Gala and Co to make that happen.
Oh, Rookie with a 2-man shockwave and an awesome sheer, chunking them out very low. My eyes are on Gala right now. 3 full items on this Xayah, level 13. Both summoner spells and the Featherstorm at his disposal. The Dragon is now getting started by IG. They want to make sure that this soul point does not go down. Shadow gonna try to find the steal, but it gets locked down by the Xayah. And now IG pulls Shadow right back in. The Shy looking for a stun. He finds it onto Carrot, forcing a golden early. Awesome still big on this backline, waiting for that bullet time, but it's currently on cooldown. He's still able to pick up a kill onto the Shy, and now FPX can go forward. Care gets hit up by the Feather Caller, and now Gala can look to go forward. Pops the ulti, knockup lands onto Awesome, and that's JJ picking up a kill. Rookie getting another one onto Care, and Dway and Shadow forced to run for the hills. IG find the Dragon, and they're gonna find themselves the fight.
FPX get too trigger happy, they overextend, but they forgot that the damage dealer died. All of their money is currently onto this Akali. This Akali dies, their damage dies with her. And IG managed to pick up a couple more kills. Now this is looking better and better for them. Greats right here. 2.5k onto this Akali. You've broken the Seeker's Arm Guard. 0 stacks onto Medjais. You have 2 dead items on your inventory. That 2k goldie that this Akali has right now is more like a 0k goldie.
Yeah, and Rookie, the opponent of Care in this lane who got targeted so much here, taken down, was the victim of a lot of situations where he was trying to finish off some kills but didn't have any mana. He had enough mana to cast that shockwave at the start of the fight, and it chunked out 2 very important members of FPX very early on, before the fight really broke out. Sheer and Awesome both had to kind of start from behind in that team fight. That meant that IG were able to take control of this one, and look at the gold lead. It is right back to about 1,000 in favor of FPX. As IG are crawling their way back into this one just like they did in game number 1.
And now you can feel the confidence coming through from IG as well. They're playing a lot more aggressive. They're trying to regain some territory, placing down some more aggressive vision, especially around Baron, which is going to be the next big objective that we're looking for, as that Dragon is quite a while away, 3 minutes on the timer. And you definitely do not want to be taking any more fights before that, as there is, again, 0 Medjai Akali right here. This is your perfect time to try and fight around this, as I say, that Care does complete the Hourglass, which brings that Seeker's Arm Guard back to life. You get that extra AP right here, so the gold lead still pretty substantial over on the mid lane.
This is all FPX know how to do. They just know how to keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting. They're looking to try to fight onto the Shy. He pops a Seeker's Arm Guard that he picked up in his inventory, and actually that allows him to escape. Oh, look at the impale from JJ. It sends in 3, but it's only the front line so far. The Shy is going to try to collapse on him. A 3-man shockwave comes through, but FPX have the health bars right now, and Awesome still full HP. They get one back on Nudgeway. A 4v4 opened up on the map. Gala has that lethal tempo proc, forces the flash away from Awesome, but JJ's going forward with the Expel's impact. Looking to finish off Sheer. Manko with a knock-up on Awesome, but he got too far forward, and here comes Care. Looking to lock down Gala, and they do. And JJ and Rookie are on the run. There's perfect execution, but it does not find the kill, and IG will run away with 2 members alive.
What is going on? We talked about IG needing to keep Gala alive, and IG get too overconfident. He flashes forward into 4 members of FPX, and now FPX are staring the Baron down. JJ can get revenge for the previous Baron stolen from him.
Neither jungler has smite, by the way, so this is just going to be a pure 50-50 if anyone gets into the pit, and it looks like a nice job from Care going over with that Twilight Shroud, forcing JJ away, who was at low HP, and FPX claim themselves the Baron and can start to breathe a little bit better here in this game number 2, but it's not over just yet.
LPL back to cinema section right here. We need to change category, please, mods. The Hourglass coming through from the Shy to save him for 4 members of FPX, and right here, that is a fantastic 3-man impale, but these are all not the squishy members from the son of FPX, therefore they don't take enough damage during them being stunned in the ult. And right here you see how Gala starts ramping up. He's dealing a lot of damage, he's chasing them away. But then he makes a very crucial mistake, which is he flashes forward to try and punish Assume from being too far forward. But here comes Care, Shadow, they find the target over in the back line. And even though Gala uses that ultimate, he's just surrounded by 4 members of FPX. A little bit of overzealousy right there from IG really does punish them.
Oh, trouble, but we're seeing Rookie and Gala start to get stronger. They're getting more and more items. FPX, I feel like they're on a bit of a timer at this point. 7-1 on the Misfortune, picking up a Serpent's Fang to try to break through some of the shields that are available on IG's side. They're going to need to get a good chunk of gold here with this Baron power play, but they haven't even been able to crack open that tier 2 up top yet.
FPX are looking for any way back into this game, right? It's kind of very difficult to dive the towers into this IG composition. There's just so many tools that they have to disengage from the side of IG, so they have to play it a little bit more safe. I like what they're doing right here with Shears. They dumped him on the side lane as Yorick does. You know, you pop up the Maiden, you've got the extra farm buff right now. You're going to shove in that bot lane wave. You can choose to play towards that Dragon or towards that mid lane tower. Right here, IG, again, they've got a 4-man core that is pretty undiveable, so I don't like what's happening right here from FPX. If anything, they're trying to push 3 lanes at once to see if they can leverage any of those minion waves to try and get a tower.
And a single out Care, but JJ does not find it with the Excel's impact, and now we see FPX pushing on 3 lanes at the same time. It's a 3-1-1 situation that they've sort of opened up for themselves, top, mid, and then bot, in terms of where their players are currently allocated. Another 45 seconds here on this Baron buff. Cracking open this top lane tier 2, and now we have inhib towers being threatened on both sides. IG are going to have to decide where to go, and it might be towards the top lane. Gala forced the Feather Storm away from the Glacial Prison.
But that is perfect right here, because if they're looking to dive, talking about diving, there's no bot lane tower right here, so FPX can actually walk in freely. They're pushing that mid lane wave as well.
Oh, wow. It looks like IG want to start this fight. The Impale already going on to Shadow. Mako only finding Jway with the quickness. A lot of major cooldowns down for Invictus Gaming without finding any key damage onto a crucial target, except maybe Sheer. He's going to get dashed upon here by JJ. Will they close the gap onto him? Sheer flashes away, and FPX are alive for now. And they're going to actually go right back in with the Arctic Assault from Shadow and make sure IG are still playing on their toes with the Dragon up and at the ready for FPX to take away.
Yeah, FPX should actually back off right here. They actually took a bunch of cooldowns, but the most important part here is that they took that inhibitor tower over the bot side of the map. Sure, not the best outcome when you're looking at a Baron, but it's a pretty tough team to crack from the side of IG. Again, so much healing, so much anti-dive potential. It's just very, very difficult to break open the base, especially when you're playing with 4 melee champions on the side of FPX. Really, really hard to come in contact with the tower. So even that bot lane inhibitor is pretty huge. They've got Soul Point for themselves. It's going to be the Cloud Drake as well. And I feel like right here, we're looking for the next Baron to spawn if FPX are looking to end this game right here.
Yeah, that's going to be a big fight for them. They get singled out trying to find vision around that objective. Jway, you got to be careful, as if you get caught out, that could result in a lot of control being taken over the map. I mean, again, we kind of mentioned, it feels like FPX on a bit of a timer here with the Akali and Misfortune, much more centered around the mid game, as now we're starting to get this Orianna Xayah combo from IG Trouble. It's getting really strong, and we're starting to see it.
Yeah, it's actually really funny that the Medjay hasn't been sold yet by Care. He's been gaining stacks,
confident.
losing stacks, gaining stacks. I don't know if he's confident, but I think the most he's been managed to have is like, what, 10? When he bought it, and then he lost them straight away. He went back down to 6. But you know what? We do like a believer, and we do like somebody who's self-confident, and Care seems to be very self-confident as he's keeping the Medjay right there. Now, for FPX, what's most important is to keep control of this map. Deprive IG off of their vision in their own jungle, because when the next objective is going to spawn, it's a minute and a half, and it's going to be the Baron, that's the most important objective of the map for FPX. Again, 4 melee champions, really, really hard to siege into IG. You truly need that next Baron buff if you want to close out the series, the game for FPX.
Man, what a series that we had. We have top Esports versus BLG after this one, by the way, Trouble. So if you're an LPL fan, you're having yourself a great day, as FPX have taken IG to their absolute limit. Despite being on a 3-match loss streak, they're really pulling and pushing and really challenging a team that is fighting to get into the top 4 of the LPL. 2 teams that did not have very similar expectations going into the season, but now FPX is going to try to prove that they can match up with the best of the best.
Absolutely, and IG are going to have to prove them wrong right here. They're looking to clean out the series 2-0, but they've been put in a very, very tough spot. Rabadon's death cap now completed for Care. Onto this Akali, finally the Medjay is gone.
All right.
And he's very, very powerful. I think for the next fight, all eyes on Gala. And if he can actually stay alive in these fights to put down the DPS, or else FPX's frontline is just too difficult to track.
And can the Wombo from Fun Plus Phoenix come into play? A knock-up from Jue into a massive bullet time. That is the recipe for success right now. If you are Fun Plus Phoenix, of course, having Care and Sheer provide as much disruption as possible onto the IG backline would also be very big. The Baron is now alive. Remember, a crucial objective for both teams, but most notably for FPX, if they want to try to close this game out.
All right, let's see. Oh, Baron up. The Shy looking for Sheer right there, but he's only going to find his Panda left behind. Rookie's also towards the bot side of the map as they see that FPX are moving more aggressively into the top quadrant of JJ's jungle as the Shy start to take everything away from Sheer.
Yeah, look at the pings right now, though. They know that with that bot inhibitor going down as well, and Rookie forced to try to clear that wave out, FPX have a bit of a timer to start this Baron up. Jue's playing goalkeeper right now, trying to keep JJ away. But look at Care. He's jumped over, but he gets immediately knocked up. Could he be in trouble? He goes down to Gala before he can finish off the proc of his ultimate. The bullet time does enough damage, but now FPX are fighting in a 5v4 situation. They do not want this smoke. They're going to get knocked up here. Mako's taken low, but not taken down. Shockwave will find Sheer. They send him to his doom. It's a double kill picked up for Gala. He flashes over the wall, finds the Zoom. FPX have fallen by the wayside as IG find 4.
FPX not like this. Scare finds the angle, but IG's fingers are too fast and they defend Gala. We said if Gala stays alive in these fights, he'll melt through the front line, and Care's job is to take him straight out, and he failed.
I want to get another look at that replay because as soon as Care showed up, JJ pressed all the buttons in his kit to make sure they try to lock the Akali down. And hey, guess what? It worked successfully here. Gala could have been in so much danger if it was not for the heroics of JJ.
Oh, that was fantastic. He gets the Q, and then instantly the shove into the impale, into the charm from Rakan. IG reacted so fast, it's as if they were expecting the flank to come through from Care. At this point, you have to expect it, right? FPX have been taking so much control in that top quadrant that Akali should have sneaked around somewhere. IG so fast to defend Gala. However, the game is not over, and that's flash down for Gala for the next fight to come.
But it feels like a bit of a breaking point as the scaling from IG is big. It's going to be this Dragon picked up here, third of the game for IG, and Shadow went over the wall to try to pick up a steal and did not find it. He's going to pay for it with his life. The Shy picking up a 627 gold shutdown for himself as that gold lead has evaporated for FPX.
Oh man, that was a little bit unnecessary, right? It's not like it was soul for the side of IG. You can afford to actually let this one go. A little bit of a heroic play right there for Shadow, but it wouldn't really result in too much. Right now, you've put your team behind bars for the next 40 seconds, and IG with Baron can actually take every single outer tower in the meantime.
They have the Baron buff for the next minute and 20 seconds, where they got it after winning that last fight. Jue going in, forcing that Feather Storm from Gala, who now is a Guardian Angel for a little bit of extra layer of protection. Speaking of, Jue not going to be protected for long, even with that Unbreakable Will. And it will mean that Invictus Gaming can break open this mid lane inhibitor. With Shadow dead for the next 15 seconds, they can look to further destroy the base of FPX until they show up as 5. And then, will they continue to go for the throw? Will they try to end this series right here? Or will they back away, knowing that it could be a 5v5 situation? It looks like they will back off, with Baron buff still in their hands for another 50 seconds.
That is crazy. IG are in the gold lead. 2,000 gold lead for IG from an 8,000 gold deficit. Shadow diving the pit right there pretty much solidified that push from IG, and there's 2 inhibitors down now for FPX that they're gonna have to defend. Another 30 seconds on the Baron buff right here for the side of IG, and clearly they only have 1 lane to push through. You said it as well, the extra layer of protection with the IG. If it was hard to find the backline for Care, it's gonna be almost near impossible. Hourglass on Jax, Hourglass on Orianna. You've got a GA over on Gala, as well as his ult, and a very tanky Skarner, who truly is a viable target right now for Akali.
Yeah, doesn't seem like anybody. Especially with even the Seraph shield that Rookie has, just the amount of damage and you know, he could put out as well on this Orianna. IG look like they have fully scaled up, and FPX feel like they've fallen off a little bit, just like they did in game number 1. As we have once again eclipsed the 40-minute mark of this game 2 between two teams. Again, FPX's final series here in the Ascension group. They're going to be headed to the play-ins after this, but don't want to leave a sour taste of this game in their mouth to wrap things up. Going to want some sort of comeback. You do see the bot lane inhibitor still down here for IG, and there's actually super minions currently pushing in. It forces the Shy to back away, and that means that FPX get a little bit more breathing room as Mako playing very aggressive here, trying to get a lot of vision down. The Shadow I should say, posturing to try to find some sort of pick, knowing that the Shy is out of the fight right now. Jway going in for a knockup, but Mako is still so tanky.
Yeah, there's still TP on the Shy, right? He's clearing out the side lane. And he can join this fight whenever he wants to. They actually need care in position. The second Jway or Shadow find a target, that target needs to disappear. That target cannot be JJ whatsoever. JJ is playing so aggressively right here because he knows how tanky he is. Very, very difficult to go down. Also got so much layer of support with Mako right there and Rookie's Orianna. Jway.
All right. Well, we set a big utilization of resources onto the full take Skarner, and that's going to be both the Glacial Prison as well as the Maiden taken down for FPX. Those are two ultimates not at their disposal for the time being. And that means IG have full control over the map.
Again, it won't result to too much. You've got still the top lane inhibitor tower, which is very, very difficult to pressure without a Baron buff for the side of IG. So they took a chance right there. See if they can force anything out of IG, throwing the Glacial Prison right there from Sejuani. It's whatever for the time being. 1 minute left for both Soul, for both teams, and the Baron coming up. And you have to expect that the next team that wins this team fight is going to most likely end the game. Again, we favored IG when it came to that late game, due to the ease of execution, the front to back that they have, the amount of damage that they have through their composition. And right now with the correct items and the items completed, I should say, 4 to 5 for each carry, the side of IG, they are the favorites to win this series.
FPX had a 7,000 gold lead about 10 minutes ago, but multiple fights won by Invictus Gaming in a row. That has resulted in them taking control of this one, and they're already up 1-0 in this series. That means if the Nexus goes down, they will still have a chance at top 4 here in the Group Ascent stage. They are continuing to play very aggressive. They have Soul at their disposal in 20 seconds, Baron up in 20 as well. FPX are going to have to make the tough decision. Do they try to go for the fight, or do they try to just trade out these neutral objectives, knowing that IG can only get one most likely?
I mean, for FPX, if they lose both the Soul and the Baron, it's going to be as much as GG right now. They're going to have to try and find some miraculous fights. They're going to have to somehow isolate Gala, find him, take him down, or Rookie. The formation is just very, very difficult to break. And Care, actually, here, they're looking to make potentially a play around the Baron. Care already in position. Yeah,
notably, Gala and Shy picked up the Soul on their own. And JJ was not even there, didn't even need to be there to lock down the smite. So Cloud Soul now in the hands of Invictus Gaming. That could be big, most notably on somebody like Mako on the Rakan. FPX have no other choice but to start up the Baron Nashor. Care is caught on a ward, looking for a flank. Rookie doing a ton of poke. 2 flashes already burned as JJ does not land the Impale, but it comes at the cost of multiple summoner spells. The Shy looking for the flank as the Baron has been started up by IG. FPX have no way to get into this one, and it should certainly be the objective going down unless Shadow can get in the pit. Get in there, man! No! It's secured by Gala, and FPX are now in so much danger. The shockwave from Rookie will find the backline, and FPX have been absolutely eviscerated. Invictus Gaming gonna pick up all the kills that they want here in this one. Mako alongside the Baron up minions will take down Care on their own, and IG, their hopes of top 4 still remain, despite another big lead from FPX. 2 comebacks in a row. They complete the sweep and will go up to 10-7 in the regular season.
IG coming through the series, showing their strong face, and come on, what is an IG series without thinking halfway through the game IG has completely lost this game, and then they just somehow come back and just make it work. I mean, flawless team fighting towards the end, a lot to work on when it comes to IG's mid-game. I feel like particularly versus FPX, their early game didn't look as polished either. However, I feel like that one factor that did great throughout the entire series has to be the Shy. He really put so much sheer pressure, no pun intended right there, onto Sheer on the other side, and I feel like he consistently found the angles, he found the counter strikes, the rumble equalizers in game number 1. Absolutely the unsung hero of the entire series.
Yeah, the Shy played those last couple of fights really, really well on the Jax, and it was just really everybody on IG that were able to take control of that game. I think Rookie on the Orianna had a couple of really big shockwaves that drastically altered the projection of the fights.
He didn't look satisfied. He didn't look happy. I feel like, okay, even though we joke around IG and it's a meme and it's all fun because it's like, oh yay, super team, but like the fumble, but then they bring needly tops and then they're really good. The weight of the expectations on the team, on the players that have come back, that have formed this team full of world champions and so many titles, the weight is so heavy, man. And when you're putting up performances like this, especially versus a team like FPX, who came into this one 6-11, right? We're not saying that FPX is a bad team, but they know that Invictus Gaming needs to be doing better, and their early to mids look really, really shaky.
But FPX on the other side of things, like they played some pretty clean mid games too, right? They got Care off to some pretty solid leads in both games. Awesome played pretty well in both. But for them, the question really comes down to how can they close out games? How can they finish off the leads that they can build for themselves in the first couple of minutes? I mean, you even think to their series against Weibo yesterday, where they played some really long extended games, but Weibo was able to come back, clutch up in the moments that mattered most in the late game, and take control of that one. And that's now 8 maps in a row that FPX has now dropped to end their regular season. They're going to finish off at a 6-12 record overall, which I think is similar to around where they would have expected to be, but compared to where they could have been, I mean, they were sitting right around 500, about halfway through.
Yeah, I think it comes back to what we were saying before. I feel like the whole leadership role, the shot calling, it feels like they know what to do individually and in the early game, because they're just mechanically really good, right? Like Care solo killed Rookie over in game number 1, and then we've got Asuman's Way doing so well into Gala and Mako, and Sheer's holding his own, and Shadow's getting these ganks here and there. But like when it comes to that late game and figuring out how they want to play these fights, if they want to play these fights, like Shadow just dashing into the pit for a potential soul point, not even soul, but then IG has Baron, therefore you lose 2 inhibitors out of nowhere because you Sejuani is dead for 40 seconds. I mean, like, these sort of inconsistencies is what have cost FPX so many series and games.
This is another heartbreaking gold draft to look at as well. 7,000 gold at 35 minutes into the game. I feel like at some point you got to just be able to close that out. I don't know what else to say, but Invictus Gaming, they were able to scale up well enough. I think Gala really performed in some of those later game team fights after he was targeted very hard at the start of the game. And I think overall, you have to be very happy about at least how IG closed out this game. And, I think it helps that you have multiple international champions across the roster who just have the experience of coming up in the clutch multiple times.
I feel like it took like a couple of team fights to understand, both for IG and for Gala, how they want to play this. They realized that, hey, their win condition is only the Akali. We don't die to this Akali, we just straight up win the fights, because everyone is just too elusive for the Misfortune. No one's really standing still for Misfortune to get a full-blown ult, and there wasn't necessarily like a big wombo combo that the Misfortune ult could follow up on. So Asum was not too much of a threat. It was Care and how he dives the backline. And then when they reach the item breakpoints with like the double hourglass that came through, you've got suddenly GA onto the Xayah. That doesn't work. You've got the extra addition of her ultimate and her barrier and her flash. That doesn't work. Suddenly you've got a Rakan that the second you saw Care dive the wall, he just instantly charmed that Akali. And then you've got the Scanner on top of that for extra layers of CC. I feel like once IG realized that, I mean, the experience speaks for itself, right? They only need to experience a couple of team fights and then they're like, oh, okay, this is how we need to play the game. I feel like for IG in particular, it's how can they realize those win cons a couple of team fights earlier than that.
And now they say, hey, BLG, it's your turn. Because if BLG want to lock a spot in top 4, they need this win against top Esports. If they do not take the series, it's going to come down to one last match at the end of the regular season. BLG versus IG, winner 4th, loser 5th. And having to go down into that play-in stage. So IG have done the job that they need for now, and they just can now sit back, relax, and put on their top esports hats, because now they're fans of that team, man.
You know what? I don't mind, to be fair. We said how, you know, it's so much more fun when every team's future is in their entire hands. So even if Top Esports loses to BLG in the next series, isn't it just fun? You're fighting for fourth, fight for it. With the team that you're fighting against, right? BLG versus IG. You guys fight each other, winner takes all.
Oh man, that could be just an absolutely crazy game with such high stakes.
Yep.
Between IG and BLG. And again, Top Esports, I mean, they should probably still be the favorites against BLG. I know BLG went on that massive win streak, but I don't know. Top Esports is looking pretty good.
That's hilarious. You know what? We're talking about like IG and Top Esports, and we're like, so technically, these two teams should be so good. But you can never guess an outcome when Top Esports or IG are playing to save your life. It's just so hard.
Yeah. You know what? I think you just got to tune in for like the rest of the series that we have over the next couple days. Only 5 more best of 3s, by the way, until we close out the regular season. And all of them have really high impact in terms of what they could mean for stakes and seeding and the like. Top Esports versus BLG is next. Tomorrow we have JDG versus AL, second versus third. Technically, I don't think that matters too much, but just in terms of getting to see what exactly like that matchup could look like, as that's likely a preview of the upper semifinals. Then IG versus BLG, that could be really important. And then even on our last day, WE versus Weibo could have impact on who like passes each other in the standings. And then NIP versus ThunderTalk are 2 teams towards the bottom of the standings. The final player of the game goes to JJ on the Skarner. I think well deserved for the amount of engages he was able to find with those impales. Locking down Care in that crucial team fight around the Baron ended up being the turning point in that game.
Absolutely. I feel like there were a lot of turning points where you could choose different MVPs for the side of IG, but definitely JJ had a lot of weight on his shoulders, you know, finding Care, engaging, disengaging, helping Gala, not helping Gala, like disrupting the fight, maybe getting into the pit, still in the Baron, still in the Dragon. It was a multi-layered game where different players really came to play for the side of IG, and JJ was definitely one of them.
Yeah, again, that game-breaking play around mid lane or around the Baron pit for Care, onto Care, it looked like such a massive flank was set up for FPX. It looked like they were on the verge of winning that game, forcing a game 3. But instead, it was the cycle that started for Invictus Gaming to take control of that game and to win 2-0 over Fun plus Phoenix. But that's going to do it for our first series of the day. We're going to swap out the play-by-plays. It's Mazel's going to come in for me for this next series of Top Esports versus BLG. Trouble, a pleasure getting to cast with you here for this best of 3. And make sure you guys stick around because you're not going to want to miss this one. Top Esports against BLG, the hottest team in the second round robin versus the defending champions. We'll be right back with the coverage of that one after this.
Welcome back, everyone, to LPL English, your unofficial home for everything LPL. I'm Mazel. I'm joined by Trouble. I'm so excited to be reunited again, and we got yet another banger. It is a banger of all bangers, honestly. The matchup I feel like that we've been looking at over the last couple of years. It's BLG versus Top Esports.
Wow, a classic from whatever side you choose to look at it. Like we go way back to 2024, Mazel, when we're casting them. We've never been in a scenario where we're like, Top Esports is favored in this matchup.
Yeah.
But come to 2025, tides have shifted, times have changed, and Top Esports are actually coming into this as the LPL favorites, the winners of Split 1.
Yeah, the defending champions and domestic dominance is looking like the bread and butter for them so far. At least let's go ahead and take a look at this roster, because you obviously know every single name on this team, but it's a team that we have to cover nonetheless, because they are looking at their final series of the regular season. They have already locked top 4. They will be waiting in the wings in the... Welcome back, everybody. We just had a little bit of a drop, you know. We got to work through all the technical issues, but we're making our way. But yeah, this Top Esports team, they are no jokes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially with all the names and with the new addition of a support as well, you know, Mako leaving, Crisp rejoining right there. There were a lot of question marks, which were all answered in split number 1. Could they follow it up in split number 2? They absolutely have. I think particularly when you're looking at the jungle and support synergy, which previously was maybe a little bit of a question mark, but I think ever since Crisp has actually joined, it's been a completely different case.
Yeah, I mean, you just get... Yes, I will say, I miss Jackie Love and Mako. It was a great time. There were many memories made, but Chris was making his own way with Jackie Love, and it's been really impressive to watch. But man, Crisp's natural roaming style just pairs so damn well with Kanavi, especially when Kanavi is on an absolute tear. This guy is putting on his crown, and he's wearing it well. He has been thrashing his opponents. He has been picking whatever the hell he feels like, and he has been one of the most oppressive junglers in the LPL this year.
Okay, Mazel, you remember me from 2024. Can I just say, but I told you so. I was building this guy
he's
up
angry,
from
bro.
2024. Absolutely. I think he's probably like one of the cleverest junglers in the world. His aggression style matches the champion pool, matches the in-game, and like, when you've got like a genius in the jungle like he is, of course he's going to overstep his boundaries, he's going to overstep his welcomes, but I feel like he has been the main moving gear for the side of Top Esports, and I think like you hit the nail on the head right there. Crisp has been complementing his super high aggro playstyle so well, and majority of their leads in the early game have been coming through them too.
Yeah, it's been a great combination of the two. I love Kanavi's way of entrance into jungle pathing and how he likes to try to be a little bit more aggressive with it, especially with the new setup with the kind of 8-minute grubs. You have a little bit more personalization from the jungle. Yes, I know the Talon lost, all right? Whatever. It doesn't matter. It matters that he's willing to go with a plethora of champions. He's willing to go with these more aggressive picks. I'm waiting to see the Zed maybe one of these days, but it is the final regular season series for these guys, and I'm expecting them to want to finish on that dominance, on a 6-win streak to finish out the regular season as they go into playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, you see that he was undefeated with a bunch of very aggro champions like the Pantheon, the Nidalee as well, right there. Like,
his Neferi is terrifying too.
Neferi, it's just so difficult to pin someone like him down, because you're usually looking at like the more quote-unquote aggro champions, and you're thinking Zinzao, and you're thinking Pantheon, very, very prominent right now, very strong in the early game, can make a lot of things work, they like to fist fight, but he's got so many others. The fact that he's brought Trundle back out, the fact that Talon got shot, it didn't work, sure, it didn't work in that one game, but he still has it in the pool. There's just so many avenues that this guy can go to, and when we're talking about junglers, we usually say, hey, if the Pantheon and the Zinza are out, okay, you'll go Skarner, Maokai, Sejuani. He's got so many more aggro champions that he can play, and that's very scary.
He does indeed. On the other side, the people that are going to have to answer that scariness today, BLG, they are no slouches. This is a team that holds themselves to such high regard, and rightfully so. Beichuan came in and made a roaring change to this roster. All of a sudden, they were putting together plays that we hadn't seen them put together in weeks. And now, after after that 5-win streak that they did have with the entrance of Beichuan, they fell hard back to reality against JDG in a 2-0 loss.
I'm gonna be completely real when it comes to BLG. They've got some damn selfish laners, right? And rightfully so. When you're so good, we've got Bin, we've got Knight, we've got Elk and On. We're talking lane kingdom when you're looking back in 2024. Surely then their jungler falls into the category of, I'm gonna facilitate for you guys. You're really good at what you do. I'm just gonna enhance that the more that I can. However, I feel like people like Shun and Wei got a little bit outshined in terms of, hey, if you fall into a really bad spot and you don't get help, that's a little bit tough because we're still going to play for ourselves as laners. However, with Beichuan, a lot of things have changed. I felt like Elk and On are more than willing to drop a wave here and there to try and facilitate for the jungler, even if he's in trouble or if he wants to play a little bit more aggressive. And I love the shift of tides in that term of playstyle for Bilibili Gaming.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to point out Beichuan. If we're talking about anybody that got a little bit gapped in that last series, he's like one of the first on the list. Went 1-7 on Xin Zhao in the first game against Shun. It was definitely personal. Shun finished his business and walked away clean. But Beichuan, if he's going to have any hope to have a kind of say in this series, it's going to be even harder against Kanavi, who is so oppressive. So trying to keep his head above water is exactly what I'm looking for today. And BLG are trying to keep a little bit of pride in their own regard as we take a look at the way that they can make it into the bye in the top 4. All they need is a win of a series. It can happen tonight. It can happen against IG. I know it's a little bit harder tonight, but if they can just handle business, they can breathe easy going into that Invictus Gaming series.
You say it as if they have like easy opponents. Like, they just need a win, man. They're playing
Just
against
win, bro.
top esports,
What do you
15-2. And IG, who look so damn scary, actually, recently. And the funnier thing is that, you guys, IG are wearing their top esports hats. They're waving flags right now. They really need top esports to win this one because that makes IG versus BLG that much more interesting. If top esports lose here, then BLG locks in, right? But if top esports win here, then BLG and IG are fighting against each other for that 4th spot.
It's very contentious race. I love it that like the last series between these two teams could be a potential decider of their positions, which is just actually crazy. I do want to go ahead and take a look at the last time these two met because we do have the double round robin here, which is so fun to finally see in the LPL. And I will say, even with Wei at the helm, BLG, they still gave Top Esports a run for their money in this series, even though they faltered and lost.
Oh, absolutely. I think the team fights were super, super close. They were literally hanging by a thread. It went the whole way. We had all 3 games, and I feel like it only came to like the very small details, like a Bin and Knight suddenly like showing up in a fight. Jackie Love being put behind, and so on and so forth. Again, these two teams, I feel like they're very evenly matched. However, the elephant in the room is that Wei is no longer there. It's now Beichuan, and it's been a completely different dynamic for BLG, and that's what I'm looking forward to see. I feel like Top Esports are going to be facing a completely different team, so we can't 100% take in account what happened in their previous series, right?
Yeah, you have to think about what's been going right for BLG and see if they can play towards that. But I know something that's been a constant in the LPL for so long. It has been versus 369. 369's invisible right there. Maybe he's like John Cena style. But it really is the factor that these two guys have been the definition of top laners in the LPL. Their matchup, the premier head-to-head top lane matchup for the last few years in the LPL.
Yeah, and I feel like a few things that I wanted to highlight with this particular graphic right here is that 369 has surpassed Bin, particularly this year. And we could be harsh about Bin, but that's because he was considered one of the best in the world. It wasn't just the best in the LPL. Whoa! Wait!
Yeah, the
Stop!
Zed
Stop
vibe.
right now! I'm gonna hold on to this. Stop right now.
Look at the smiles on their faces, man. That is absolutely incredible. It is 369. It is Knight for probably blue side select in game number 1. A Zed mirror matchup. And wouldn't have it any other way.
I have to say though, I saw Care playing
Okay.
Fiora, And sometimes you have no business dipping your feet into someone else's sea, okay? Cares Fiora did not look good. I don't know how practiced
Why you gotta do that, man?
I don't know how practiced 369 is with Zed, but apparently we're gonna find out because Knight has played this to pretty good success.
What's hilarious is these two guys are known friends, right? Like they have played on the same roster so many times. They know each other so well. I love to see some of that camaraderie. I love to see the double blind lock-in. Absolutely incredible stuff there, and it's going to be a fun one to kick off the 1v1. Obviously, maybe we just get the instant fights, but both guys at least have a plan in mind.
You don't see this very often. Also, in 369 cracked a little bit of a smile right there. He's like, oh,
Knight was
okay.
guffawing.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was laughing. All right, we're into our side select 1v1.
Same
if you're new
skin
here,
as well?
Yeah, let's go. See, I'm telling you, they communicate. What if they've been practicing this 1v1 outside it? That'd be great. Well, friends reunited on the Rift, even if they are on separate teams. 369 and Knight know each other very well. From time on Top Esports, from time on JDG. They're showing off some of that camaraderie here together. Dude, this has to be rehearsed. That's too good. This is like synchronized swimming right now.
It might actually be like if you're playing against each other, Zed versus Zed, like even the sounder spells are on the same button. That's how synced they are.
It should be interesting. I do wonder though, who end up gets it better, because obviously Knight should have a little bit more experience on the Zed. We don't know what 369's solo queue efforts are. Maybe he's a Nightmare Zed on the solo queue ladder, you know.
Yeah,
I'm sure
you
there's
would
ways
wish,
for us
no?
to check that. All right,
Like
it's
I said,
the 2020
that's what we
Top
thought about.
Esports versus 2022 Top Esports. You know?
That's what we
I feel like
we
2022
thought was okay,
Top
play
Esports
Fiora.
is going to feel better. True. I'm wondering if Knight feels like he's the better of it for the 2022, or if 369 goes for the 2020 to be like an OG.
You know what? I'll take you even further back. Let's have a Ryu versus Faker moment right here. 369 versus Knight. This is the revamped version.
Yes, this is 2025 Ryu versus Faker. However many years later.
Was that 12?
Is it? Yeah, 2013, right?
Think so, yeah.
Something like that. Around there. You know, we'll not use absolute. But you know,
for you.
You're not gonna do the research. All right, fine. All right. Do we still get them here?
2015.
Okay.
It's
So
10 years later.
10 years.
Yeah.
I don't know why I had 2013 in my head.
2013 as well. I'm with you.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I really wish that, you know, they would all in. But we're about to get level 6. So the
That's
death
where the
mark
all-in
is going to
happens.
be available. Maybe they've continued to communicate. They're like, at level 6, we're just going to go all in. Though, I will say, 369 has the 6 advantage right now.
Okay. We've gone for different items. I feel like Knight has gone for more raw damage. Picking the pickaxe right there. As 369 gets a little bit more utility through his item as well. Both with Ignite and
Alright, we
Barrier.
got
Level
level
6
6.
now hit for Knight. But he's got an entire wave, so I'm expecting to see maybe a little bit of back and forth when the wave is a little bit more neutral for the center.
Wait, what was that Top Esports emote? That was like a Baron with like a hand on top of it with like a little Top Esports flag. That was super cute. I didn't really get to see it that much. Hopefully he uses it again. Anytime Knight uses the alpaca, and he throws it up.
Oh,
Honestly,
-1.
I'm more important at the more enthused by the emote game right now between these two than I am the.
I mean, there's not much
gameplay.
other game, so.
This is where the real mechanics come out. Honestly, that should be like, it should actually win you stuff in the game. You think that's the most controversial change that League will ever make? Like, your emotes actually do things?
Oh, wow.
That'd be nuts.
More things that are already happening on a screen on a 5 versus 5?
We need other ways to pack more into the biscuit can. Oh, the death mark. He'll go all in. Knight's got a little bit of a health advantage. He's going to use his own death mark, though. 369 going to get popped, and 369 showing that Knight might have the little bit of a difference in the Zed experience.
Can I say it now? Man, you've
Don't
got no
dip your
business dipping your
toes in
feet into someone else's sea, man. Come on.
No. Knight's like, welcome.
Let them be, you know?
Welcome. Sit down.
Play Zed versus Renekton. I don't know, like, give me Camille, Fiora, or something. I do
That
think
feels
this was
real
pretty sided, though. It feels like it was a pretty sided matchup, right? The 1 versus 1. Now, there's a lot of goal difference right here. Eclipse completed for the side of Knight. Not quite there for the side of 369, but now here's the problem, right? Tower is almost dead, down to its last tire plating. So if you take a pretty unfavorable trade right here and you have to reset, 369 is like sitting on a double-edged sword and he's choosing which side. Do you reset and lose your tower, or do you take the 1v1 and lose through
Wait,
that?
the Warden's Mail Eclipse. That's kind of baller. I like it. He's no boots needed. Oh, he's going. He wants the all in again. He doesn't have the death mark back up. Oh, 369. You know 369 is so cooked. You're so cooked, bro. Get your beach apparel. Get out. Oh, he actually got the move with the shadow.
Knight is laughing.
Oh, he's gonna kill him right here. He's gonna kill him.
Oh no, he does he know? Does he? Oh!
Knight is just not even laughing anymore. He's okay. There we go.
He's like, come on, man. I expected a sport. That wasn't
taking
that
the
wasn't a
back of the
sport.
bush. I'm dead, man. That was like maybe one of the funniest 1v1s we've seen all year. That was
Bro didn't even
incredible
click buttons.
stuff. Incredible
369
stuff.
didn't even click buttons. He just died.
They didn't have any summoners. They didn't have anything.
All right, BLG choose blue side. Shocker.
Oh, man. Yep, shocker. BLG on blue side for game number 1. See if that makes a difference, because Top Esports, yes, they did lose that one game to TT. I feel like that was a little bit of a weird one for sure, but they still have been one of the most dominant teams. I mean, they've had a wreck of 2-0s before that 2-1 against TT, and now trying to finish strong with their last series in the regular season. You have to expect they're going to go all guns blazing here. And that red side, that counter pick, super important for Bin.
Okay, I'm going to say that it does sound a little bit memey and funny how they're like, oh, Top Esports cannot finish a clean series 2-0. Like, they've won so many series. But I think there was like maybe 1, maybe 2 that have been like a clean 2-0. And I feel like this is actually quite problematic for a team that is sitting pretty comfortably in that number 1 spot. Like, you really need to actually pin down and look at the reasons that why can you not close out series 2-0. And I feel like particularly going up against a team like BLG, which you're facing officially for the very first time with a new jungle, with a new style, where the solo laners have become a lot more less selfish than before, which is really going to help right here. You're going up against Kanavi. You're going to need to help H1 through this.
Yeah, I will give them a little bit of a leeway. They did have the 3 2-0 streaks, especially against JDG and Weibo.
You're right.
In a row. But no, I still agree. They drop games to teams they should not be dropping games to, and we'll see if they do that tonight. Although BLG is not a team they shouldn't be dropping games to. BLG have an absolute opportunity in this series, and not only that, they have an opportunity to lock themselves into top 4. We're into game number 1 of this best of 3. It is going to be a banger, so get buckled in. BLG on the blue side for the first game. They're going to ban away the Varus with that Nefiri and the Yone. On the other side for Top Esports, blazing through the bans, we got the Nico and the Vi already banned and targeted towards Beichuan.
I'm looking at Rumbles, I'm looking at Gwens, I'm looking at all kinds of top laners that you can be. One IGDD for the Shy with the Rumble. I'm pretty sure BLG can do the same thing here for Bin. Both Gwen and Rumble open. Usually it is a Rumble favorite from the teams, but this time around, they're prioritizing their jungler. Okay.
They know. They're knowers. They know that
Okay.
Beichuan has to have something going for him against Kanavi, because if not, Kanavi will run over the entire map. We'll see what the double answer is from the side of Top Esports, though. They have some big picks on the table.
Yeah, you've got the Rumble right here for 369. I think it's a pretty good pick. You take it away from the Pantheon as well. Usually don't want to have the two paired up together. And Kanavi's classic Xin to go up against the Pantheon, right? Now, what do you pair up that Pantheon with? You've got a couple of choices with Knight. I mean, his traditional choice would have said Ahri right there, but you're kind of picking the Ahri blind. It could even be something like you play around a very, very strong tops of the map, the Gallios, the Gwens, things like this, to try and facilitate around the Pantheon.
Little shout out to Beichuan hovering the vein for Uzi's announcement of the Hall of Legends today. Congratulations to Uzi. I'm so excited. As the Annie, a rampant up-and-comer in the LPL, is going to be locked in for BLG.
Yeah, and let's see what the matchup is going to be from Bin into that Rumble. Again, this is our match. Our head-to-head match, rather, Bin versus 369. And tell us all this time, them two, who is the best? Is it Bin or is it 369? 369 has been coming up on top for the majority of 2025. Bin right here is going to pick up the Gwen. And now we're moving into bot lane territory. Top sides completely picked for both teams.
I kind of like some of the answers for both sides. It doesn't feel like either side has fully kind of gotten that big draft just yet. We still need a couple pieces, kind of tie everything together. But the Azir for Cream, going to be a good one. The Gwen, always a threat in the top lane, especially in Bin's hands. But as you said, the Kai'Sa is the first ban from that second phase of top esports. See if BLG want to focus a little bit more on Crisp's champ pool to take away some of those roaming supports, or go with that classic Ezreal that has been the most played for both of our ADCs.
Now, one thing that I do see in common with both of those compositions I was about to say is that you're going to get all those AD carries banned away that are a lot aggressive, they have a lot of mobility, because both of these teams have mobility, right? None of these two teams wants to play front to back. Even though you've got an Azir in your team, that team doesn't necessarily want to play a front to back, of course, dependent on the champions that you play towards the bot side. For top esports, I wouldn't mind seeing a Jhin right here. It sets up really nicely for the Azir, for the Rumble ult, for the Xin Zhao. You play more of a facilitating AD carry. And also, you don't have a Sion on the other side. Top lane has already been picked. You've got Gwen, so there's nothing that you have to be scared of to not kill.
Jins do hate Sion. You know, let's just say that. But no, great shout out there.
I think most of the carries right now hate Sion.
Honestly, yeah, TBH. But it is going to be the misfortune for a little bit of that lane dominance, a little bit of that early game, mid-game pressure from top esports and from Jackie Love.
I'm not very excited.
I'm a misfortune hater. I'm just gonna say that.
I think Jhin would have fit the bill so much better right here, especially since you're like setting up, right? But again, it's Jackie Love. If he has to pick two champions, he'd probably be Misfortune or Ashe. These are the two that he usually gravitates towards. Big comfort for him. Zyra Rakan locked in on the other side for Elk and On. Very, very safe. Again, BLG does not want to play in any type of formation, so you've got a very, very safe AD carry that can fend on his own, and the rest of the team can play however they please on the team fights.
Yeah, I really appreciate some of the moves we're getting in that 2v2, because even though for focusing that top lane, for focusing jungle as well in this series, bot lane does have a lot of eggs in the basket, typically between these two carries in Elk and Jackie Love. It will be the Alistar to give over to Chris for a lot of that playmaking ability from himself.
Yeah, I see a lot of lane domination in general for the set of top esports. I feel like that's why they gravitated towards the Misfortune and then paired up with the Alistar. We saw it in the previous series as well, how the Alistar Misfortune truly take control of that early game. Once you have that headbutt pulverize combo, you can actually play a lot more aggressive, take chunks away from like either Xayah or Rakan, and then you get to touch tire play things really, really early. So Kanavi right here already has one lane of priority that he knows he can play towards.
Yeah, there's a lot of different lane matchup variety in this one specifically. I love that focus on the top lane as well. I think both of them going to have massive teamfight aspects, but Bin is going to be a menace in that side lane. They're going to have to find a way to answer that. And at the jungle, I mean, this is Kanavi's bread and butter. I talk about that all the time. His Xin Zhao is ruthless, and you're going with the Pantheon, so that can be so bend or break, but still has a ton of teamfight impact, being the one to start things off. It is BLG, it's top esports. It's one of the matchups that have been absolutely premier of the LPL over the last 3 years. And this is the final series for top esports before they go into their rest, until their hibernation, before their playoffs. They have that bye. They're locked into the top 4. But on the other side, BLG, they're not. They're looking for that win. They're looking for that window to get into the top 4, to claim that bye, and a series win puts them over IG, knocks Invictus Gaming down into the playoff play-in. Can BLG topple Titans and take down top esports in this series to claim that destiny. We're getting into game 1 now. It's going to be an absolute banger between top esports and BLG. Let's go. People having forced today trouble, as they should be. I can't believe we only have, as Grape said, 5 series left, but 2 days after this of the regular season. It feels like we just started yesterday. Kappa.
I mean, it kind of feels like you, right? The seasons move by so fast because there's more of them. We don't have 2 anymore. We've got 3. So
Yeah.
they typically have to move a little bit faster. However, right here, there's a few deep wards, actually. It's actually so funny. We said about, like, BH1 keeping up with Kanavi. Kanavi being, you know, the best jungler in the league, undisputed at this point. There's 2 very deep wards to spot Kanavi at any point through his clear. And as we mentioned earlier, because Jackie Love and Chris will have the upper hand in that particular matchup, Kanavi's going to be passing towards that bot side of the map, as BH1's going to evade him towards the top.
Kind of keep an eye, a side eye on that as well. I wanted to go down and break down some of the setups for these teams. I mean, I love that Elk and On are on the Lovers duo down here. They might be playing a little bit more of a back foot. What I really want to see as a combination is Beichuan and Knight at level 6. Really find that wombo combo and set Knight up for success. This Annie pick is giga busted right now, and I want to see them utilize this to success. There's a reason why Blue Side has been dominant, at least in terms of getting themselves something strong to play with. And now it comes down to execution, and specifically if Beichuan can kind of keep up with Kanavi on his premieres and out.
Yeah, and what's really strong around Annie as well is that at level 6 you can walk up to targets like Misfortune, like Rumble, and actually force flashes when you do have your stun stacked. So that's very, very important, especially when you're looking for like early game neutral objectives, which BLG really love to fight around. Using Knight's T-Burst to even pressure a lane or taking a summoner spell early on could be very, very useful.
We'll see how those pan out as the offset. Ooh, bolt 2v2 action. You take this Misfortune to have some pressure in the lane, but Jackie Love going to be playing with a little bit less of a health bar after that one. They will still try to keep priority here, and will have Kanavi pathing down their way if he wants to get something going early.
Actually, very nice trades right here from Elk and On. Every single time Elk has been throwing the Q out, he's making sure to feed Jackie Love, so he's slowly but surely just chipping away on that Misfortune HP bar. However, Jackie Love does have another cookie.
Jackie Love just
inventory.
missed like 3 minions right there, but does end up getting engaged on in the end, so he will back away. They did end up burning the heal from Crisp.
Not a huge issue right there. However, usually the team that pushes will end up losing a bit more CS than the team that defends, because they usually tend to focus more on just making sure that you take whatever is coming your way in terms of CS, right? But again, Navi is going to find his way to bot lane. Beichuan is right behind him in his quadrant. They are looking for a dive. Beichuan's going to get spotted.
Beichuan will be on his second clear here. There's no way. And he will end up completing his back on vision here. Oh, engage on the Elk. Oh, Kanavi wastes so much time, and Beichuan's already going to be finishing his red side quadrant of his second clear before Kanavi even gets back to base.
I feel like I've been watching that bot lane, and I feel like Top Esports feel like they're on a timer right here, that if they don't dominate straight up 2-3 minutes into the game, it's not going to be successful. However, you still have a lot of scaling elements in your composition. You've got an Azir, you've got a Rumble. Like, you do actually have pretty good instances of damage, both AP through, though, coming through. But there isn't any significant tank on the side of BLG that can stack MR later on to go up against the Rumble and the Azir, right? So I feel like Top Esports are playing like they're being chased right now down in the bot lane. And BLG are definitely taking control of that. Like, even in CS down bot lane, they managed to dissuade a potential dive from Kanavi. They stop his reset, delay him a little bit more on the map. So far, so good for BLG.
Yeah, I really like some of the unique setup in pathing that we get to see now because the grubs aren't spawning at the 6-minute mark. Like Beichuan not backing, going for his second clear of the red side and getting the back off. So now he comes back onto the map, can go finish this top side and be active now that we're getting these level 6 marks, especially for Knight. As he looks on the cream, this is where proactivity starts to be the name of the game for both teams, but looking at BLG specifically at that mid-jungle duo.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got that level 6 right now. You actually can get to burn through that T-burst, get a lot more lane priority. Knight's stuck in his passive right there, but has been chunked down just a little bit. Cream did have his back, as on. A little too far forward in that lane. Alright, so here's where the T-burst is really gonna come through, right? You are holding onto the stun on the Annie. You play a little bit more aggressive. Things like Fortune, that is very immobile usually. If you walk a little bit too far forward, you get hit by T-burst. Pretty much good night.
Oh. Getting a little dicey in this 2v2. I could feel that both teams want to find an advantage here, but Kanavi will be spotted out. We'll see that he was on a ward. Beichuan is right behind them. Wind does not become lightning, and now Kanavi needs an exit strategy. Gonna flash. Crisp goes in. Knockback 2 on, but Crisp is now in trouble. Crisp might just be ground up into some ground beef, and there you go. First blood goes over to Elk. Knight on the roam. These are the kinds of combinations we really want to see from BLG. And they'll push top esports to the brink on bot side.
Kanavi walks back, doesn't have the flash, the T-burst.
Oh, he gets the stun, the tippers. It's so much damage. Kanavi can't do anything. He dodges the spear, but the stun still follows nonetheless. Beichuan gets the kill there, and now BLG surrounding like sharks onto Jackie Love, but Jackie Love trying to get the outplay. The blade collar is not enough. He does get the one back at least onto On.
Great dive right here from BLG. They roam Knight all the way from mid lane while Cream is resetting. The team is going to be pulled by 369. Does have the ult. They're going to choose to follow through with it. I'm just a little bit confused with what happened with top Esports right there. They did spot Beichuan on Vision. Crisp was on a completely different page than Kanavi, and then they re-engage while not really. And I feel like the miscoordination right there from top Esports got heavily punished by BLG.
And you start seeing some of the things that have made this new BLG roster so dominant. A lot of their follow-throughs, a lot of their team play has looked so damn good. That's what was so shocking in that JDG series. Now On makes his debut in mid lane. Crisp will be right beside it.
Trying to take control towards the tops of the map right now. Void grubs in about 8 seconds time. And teams both trying to get any vision in the river. And let's watch this one more time. A lot of spells got traded in this iteration. Kanavi gets spotted in the vision right now. He knows he has been spotted. However, he chooses to follow through with the gank. He's gonna miss the W, and then he has to flash the knockup from the Rakan. But Chris goes in at the same time, so if that was the case, top Esports would have looked potentially for a kill, but I think this was so miscoordinated between Kanavi and Crisp. And then Kanavi loses his flash, which Knight actually abuses to perfection by roaming through that.
And this just seemingly happens to top esports occasionally as Elk just gets a beautiful Featherstorm Blade Collar combo, and Chris will be crowned up yet again. Knight comes there and gets this kill On, now going down as well, though. Cream has shown up at the Blade Collar, locks him in place, and Elk will get another kill. As Knight looking for the CC, he wants Jackie Love, and Tibbers is down again. Jackie Love in a lot of trouble under turret here, though Knight will have to back off. Jackie Love will not fall. It's still a BLG world in this game number 1 with a 3-0-2 start for Elk.
Hey, wake me up when 2024 is over, okay? Because right here, BLG are back. 3-0-2 for Elk. Over in that bot lane, he's going to have his first item very, very soon. Beichuan securing the top lane grubs as well. A play traded down the bot lane for 369, but top Esports is just looking so miscoordinated, honestly. We expect a lot of aggression to come through for Chris and
maybe they get him.
And Kanavi.
Okay,
I don't think you dive that. I don't think you can dive that.
That's bold. 369 already used the equalizer there. Yeah, okay.
What?
Top Esports have lost their minds.
What's going on? What is going on? Please.
Top Esports have absolutely lost their minds here. This is a little bit toughy for sure. I mean, it's already a 2,000+ gold lead at 10 minutes into the game.
What is going on? Okay. Chris, wait.
Oh? The
Okay,
headbutt
very
polarize.
nice.
Okay, he doesn't have the turret anymore. Unfortunately, though, he does have
has a
Kanavi
Zin's
a
out.
little bit behind the play, but it's not going to be fast enough there.
Wow, okay. Top Esports need to bring themselves together, like now, yesterday, or BLG are gonna run away with the series. 2,500 gold lead at 10 minutes is a pretty huge amount. Sundered Sky already completed. Essence River already completed for Elk as well. And right now, these are the two moving pieces as well for BLG. Like their AD carry is going to be used as artillery, and their jungler is going to be around every single neutral objective anyway. So having them two with already first completed item, which is a pretty good spike as well. Like Essence River is a huge spike for Xayah too. And then you've got Gwen sort of scaling into that late game to be a menace in sideline, but also in team fights. I think if Top Esports don't find a response soon, that game is going to completely run out of hands.
Yeah, I mean, the mid-game spike is going to be huge here for BLG as well, but they also just have a comp that works really well in the driver's seat. Now they have 3 grubs as well. They're going to take the first dragon. Full neutral objective control so far, and looking to control 369's fate here in the side lane. They're going to bring Beichuan. They're going to bring everybody. A spear to help on the back end, but Bin will claim the kill anyways after the flash. Bin follows through, and now the turret should go down quickly.
Oh no, I think Top Esports are dizzy. BLG have been moving so fast on the map, and they've been taking so much advantage. Like, you saw it from the early laning phase, right? Like, Jackie Love and Chris felt like they were on a timer. They were making mistakes. They were missing creeps. As you mentioned as well, just trying to shove that wave as much as possible. They tried for early ganks. They didn't work, and now they're overforcing the issue time after time after time, and BLG is simply punishing. First tower falling 11 minutes in the hands of Bin as well, onto that Gwen, and all across the board, huge gold leads for every single member of BLG. Top Esports, this is a very scary game for them, and a very scary form to see them if you're a fan of Top Esports.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different combinations of effects. Maybe obviously the last series for them, they are locked into top 4. They have that buy going for them. But this is also tried and true what we've seen from Top Esports. Sometimes in games, they just lose their minds. And you're like, what happened to this dominant team that looks so good all the time? And then they show you in the next 2 games, or whatever combination of whichever game they lost in the best of 3. But this one's definitely looking tough.
I'll give it to you if you're a fan. You know how Top Esports really like taking full advantage of all their official games. That's why most of them have gone to 3, right? They're getting the 0-1 out the way, so then game's on. Kinda. I don't know. I'm just trying to give.
I like it.
I'm just trying to give some, copium to the fans of Top Esports.
I'm just thinking, like, wouldn't it be so LPL to just have JDG thrash BLG, and then BLG beats Top Esports as Cream loses over half his health to a little girl with a bear. Terrifying. That's not BLG. Look at them. Like, they are just in Top Esports' jungle doing what typically Top Esports does to every other team in the LPL.
Oh, Cream. He didn't get his back
There's
through.
nothing
the
here,
flash.
bro. He's got a couple more needleworks for Bin. They're going to try to find it. Oh, he gets stunned as he tries to go. Oh, my God. It's a catastrophe of errors. And now Elk, looking for the outplay, is going to try to find Jackie Love. Can't get him in the end. Both are going to have burned their flashes and their combat summoner spells.
Okay, this is a classic case of AD carries got bored because they're not included in any play at this point. Both ended up flashing. However, BLG, they get so many summoners, they kill Cream, they take the top lane tower, and Top Esports are left licking their wounds at 5,000 gold and only 14 minutes into the game. We're talking about a stomp.
Yeah, can we just go next, or like what? No, I'm beaming aside. It's still a very dominant lead from BLG. It's been handled cleanly, and it all stems from the team play. I mean, we saw that early gank down towards bot side, or at least the counter gank there, followed through by the whole team. The timing has been so good today.
For BLG, unlike for Top Esports, who are trying to defend the mid lane tower right here. Voidgrubs are going to be doing some work as Knight holding the stun, again, is just become so dangerous, right? Jackie loves to spurt his flash for the 1v1 versus Elk. You cannot overstep too far forward. There's way too many BLG members around. You get stunned by T-Bears, you're most likely going to die. There's an item and a half. They're diving anyway.
They are diving. A little hole, but they do get the turret, so you know that's all that really matters in the end. Rift Herald is up on the table. Could still be... Oh, On just popped his quickness. Crisp just goes in. Equalizer has been used. Top Esports, they are stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. And speaking of, that rock's being thrown right at their face. Both going down. 369 and Crisp. The top and bottom is already out from underneath Top Esports. And now back onto the Rift Herald. BLG goes for continued neutral objective dominance.
You were talking about the whole go next idea. However, I feel like Top Esports coaching staff are already on the whiteboard and preparing tactics for game number 2 on blue side, because this is, I'm just going to be completely honest, this is just hard to see from Top Esports. Again, very, very uncoordinated. Chris goes in. Once Kanavi is backing off and Jackalop doesn't have flash, so you can't really overcommit into a choke point, into a Zaya and a Pantheon and a Gwen flanking as well on the other side when you have no flash onto this Misfortune.
Isn't it funny how isn't it funny how we put so much praise on Crisp and Kanavi, and we've seen like 3 plays already in just this first game of this best of 3, but they're just completely out of sync. Can't have that against BLG, who again, you have to remember, this is a very important series for them. If they win here, they don't have to go into their next series against IG with any worry. They will lock top 4 with a win of this series.
BLG, they've got their destiny in their own hands, right? Win the series, you're through. Top 4, locked. And they're playing in an absolutely great form to achieve that. Do they have to beat the best team in the LPL right now? Yes. Does Top Esports look like the best team in the LPL right now? Absolutely not in that game number 1. BLG are pretty much like rolling them over, right? Macro-wise, movements on the map, anti-dives as they're looking for 369 flash.
Oh, come on, Ben! What? You missed every single needlework. That's actually wild. Just, predicting that 369 would step up. He did get his flash, though, so I guess all's fair in love and war. These two guys knowing each other very well over the years, but BLG looks to put the screws on the Top Esports so far. Cream will do his due diligence. Get a side lane turret for them. Bullet time's going to be used in mid lane, but Rift Herald, he's going to be looking to charge onto this tier 2 here for BLG.
Cream resets right here. A few more hits onto this tower and it's going to go down. The Demolish proc.
And then they just take the fight onto Kanavi. Kanavi's way overextended. He gets CC'd but popped the pressing guard, so he should just be fine. BLG getting a tier 2 and backing away.
I think it's a pretty much clinical procedure right here for BLG, right? Already 6,000
What procedure is that?
Cream?
Oh, Crisp trying to throw a wrench into the surgery plans. As the Equalizer going to be thrown down by 369. He wanted to go over the wall, but doesn't have flash there. Trying to catch out On, trying to catch out somebody, trying to pick up a little bit of this gold anywhere they can find it for Top Esports. Oh my God, Chris is just going to die. Look at it. Elk! Elk's going bold here. My dude, Blade Caller right back. Picked one, took away the red buff.
Okay, we need to okay. We need to calm down. Because I'm gonna be quite frank, if I take the nameplates off, that looks like my solo queue game. No joke.
Well, we're about to continue that here as another needlework comes through. 369 bites the dust again, 0 and 4. And that feels real bad as BLG looking for another tier 2 turret, this time in top side.
Damn, okay, BLG as dominating as ever. I just want to point out, like, that TP that we saw from Knight earlier, the fact that they're consistently just pushing every single side lane, every single time 369 tries to push, there's a response right there. They pull a TP, they take a flash. Every single time Cream is on the side lane, he takes a tower down, they'll take 2. Both of them in the mid lane. So there is a constant response from BLG. And again, that's what I'm saying. Like, wake me up when 2024 ends, because that is 2024 BLG. That is how dominant they were and how they did it. They took that lane transition, those extra items, into the skirmishes, into choking you out of your jungle, into choking you out of the game. That is textbook 2024 BLG.
And it's textbook how to make sure you put your team who's refreshed with Bechuan in the best position to win. Because I feel like that's something that was not played to in that JDG series. And we saw the fruits of that labor. I mean, jungle was gapped. Bechuan had no hope in that series as a whole. And being able to play around these proactive moments, being able to play around this early game and make sure that they can all play synergistically together has been a great boon for BLG, especially to start this series off. The job is not done yet, and On he immediately having to regret his decision making, but luckily they are so far in the lead that it doesn't even matter. Crisp is down a level onto On and down multiple onto everybody else. On getting pushed right back. On going down. Cream's going to get the kill there. Bullet time right across to split the difference on a BLG. Knight looking for an angle there with the Tibbers at the toe. Elk does have Featherstorm still available. Atacon gets brushed and started up there, but BLG will make it out alive.
Yeah, that's a support taken down for the side of Top Esports. It's a start, I guess. Trying to pin down the Rakan is not very easy. And the flash
yeah, Knight
from
tried
Knight,
to get the,
he misses that.
Tried to get the flash Tibbers play, or at least wait for it, but wasn't able to do it. Does end up burning that. This big tool down for 5 minutes. I mean, that's a main engage tool for them, alongside their others.
It's gonna be fine for the time being. There is a dragon up, and BLG already have 2 for themselves. Knight is waiting on the wave. There is no
terrifying
ultimate onto Cream.
Oh, he missed. Okay. Grand Starfall gonna be used, but they are already in prime position to get this Soul Point Dragon of a Hextech Soul.
Yeah, BLG taking control of that river by the time Top Esports are anywhere near. T-Burst is back up. Stun is being held by Knight. So difficult to walk through any choke points, and Top Esports are gonna try to anyway. Not this time around. They're falling way too far behind. You know how I feel about Top Esports and having 0 setup in those neutral objectives. They'll take it anyway, right? They'll take the fight. However, right here you have 5,000 gold. Not enough this time around, and it's just hard to just straight up walk in.
They have 2 items now, but yeah, I don't think it makes any difference, honestly. Cream is never going to reach the scaling point that he wants to, for sure. And the other side of things, BLG will absolutely have the kind of engage tools they want to be able to keep pushing this pressure. Over 6,000 gold now, and as they redeploy on the bot side, you have to expect the Atacon is the next focus.
All right, we're talking about a 6,000 gold difference right here, but if you look at the items, you've got 2 items in Scorching, 2 items in Azir, very important items as well, so you're not that far off in terms of overall power. Now, BLG are going to send Knight over the tops of the map, and these sort of Atacans are mostly to bait fights or ultimates coming through from BLG. BLG are absolutely not going to take the bait. They know if Top Esports stick around the Atacan long enough, they're going to take too much damage, and then BLG will be able to turn it around.
I do like Cream's speed of taking it, and it does feel like it can be a possibility they're left to their own devices for too long. Bechuan has joined. Knight has TP, can come in at any time. On looking for an angle, but the Atacon's getting low. Can Bechuan get in the pit? Can he steal it away from Kanavi? Kanavi's going to take it. Atacon secured by BLG, and now the fight afterwards is looking good for them as well. Double knockup from On, and now they are able to take this fight into Cream, into Jackie Love, and continue their absolute dominion over game number 1. A double kill comes through for multiple members of BLG, and this game number 1 is cooked.
Absolute domination from BLG, from laning phase to transition to wards to vision to neutral objectives. The only neutral objective they took away was to make sure that the game goes along with it, right? Top Esports fall for the trap. They tried to play for a neutral objective, and BLG slapped the wrist right after. They're gonna take that bot lane tier 2 tower that remains as well. Only one outer tower in 23 minutes remains for Top Esports, which is the top lane 1. And you have to expect that Baron will be in BLG's sights right after this.
That's such a crazy factor to state right here. When we thought this series was just going to be an absolute backbreaker, so contested, with Top Esports having such good promise with this huge win streak that they're on. You got to remember, they're trying to go on a 6 win streak to finish off the regular season, and BLG having their own win streak faltering against JDG, but here against Top Esports, performing against all odds. And Chris, you chose the wrong target. I'm sorry, bud.
I was about to say, I think that was a little bit troll right there from Chris, because it's like Kanavi was like, you got me, you got me, you got me. He's like, I got you, I don't have you, but good job on the smite, buddy.
Throw up the
yeah,
meme.
like, it's hilarious, right? We're like, hey, Kanavi and Chris, what a fantastic jungle support duo. Like, I mean, they have been absolutely dominated by themselves in this game. Like,
Yeah,
it
it's
has
been tragic.
It's been tough to watch.
I mean, that's like 5 or maybe 6 games right now. Trouble, you're gonna have to take over for a second. There's a giant spider walking across my wall, and I'm gonna smash it. So I'm gonna mute real quick. There you go.
Don't smash it, man. Take it in the cup. Put it outside. All right, he's already gone. R.I.P. to the spider. Well, all right, guys. Kanavi is looking for Bin here in the side lane. Really, really difficult to actually pin down. You've got the upgraded boots as well from Feats of Strength. Medjai's purchased for Knight as well on that Annie. 10 stacks already stacked up from that ring. And BLG are looking to regain a lot of control into Kanavi's top side jungle. As
I moved it. I didn't kill it. I moved it to the other side of my room. So it's living in the corner now. But yes,
evicted.
Evicted. It's an interesting state of the map right now because it feels like Top Esports have some hope in their team composition. Do we though, Trouble? No, we don't have any hope.
Oh,
well,
I'm back.
You're back.
For a second there.
It's hilarious.
Sorry. That was
I asked you if you had any hope, and there was no answer. So I'll take that as the answer I needed.
That was the perfect timing. That was the perfect timing then, for me to not get any sound. Is there maybe for games 2 and 3? How about that?
Yeah, I guess so. Just drop it. My window has a screen on it, Kai. I can't do that. It's living in my corner now. That's where it lives. It's the LPL spider.
All right. We'll name it Kanavi.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess he's just sitting on the wall watching.
Harmless.
His team.
It's harmless, yeah.
It's harmless. As speaking of harmless, I don't think BLG are anywhere near that wording as they are looking so dominant. And look at Knight. He wanted to kill him at Cream. Cream goes gold and buys a lot of time, though. Elk has to pop his Feather Storm now as well, but they already find Jackie Love. Chris has no health left. 369 already half health, and Chris going to be ran down to the dirt by Bin. As multiple flashes come out, BLG will turn right back onto the Baron.
Yeah, they'll get the Baron right here. Kanavi is alive. He'll try to make his way around, but I really doubt they're going to let him get anywhere near. He's not on vision right now. He could make hilarious thing happen. He's been spotted right now. Can he W into the pit? He's not going to choose to do that. He's coming back. There's no way. He's crazy. He's crazy.
Okay, no. Kanavi, my king. Your crown has fallen on the ground, and it has some dirt on it, my friend. You're going to have to pick it up for game number 2, that's for sure, as still 100% neutral objective control. Every dragon, every objective, and everything going BLG's way.
The only thing that didn't was under BLG's control as well. They let the Atakan go through. They use the damage from Atakan to re-engage onto Top Esports. As right here, you see even Elf oversteps massively right here, but Top Esports are so far behind. They can't even punish that. And BLG is going to take this fight. They're going to take the Baron. Most likely they're going to take the game very shortly after. And yeah, I feel like naming that Spider Kanavi is pretty spot on for this game.
There's a little bit of unrest in my brain, just because I'm a big arachnophobe because of my mother. But I'm gonna rest well that I know Kanavi is in the room with me.
He's harmless, man. Look at him.
It's crazy though to think of being a little bit real. This is Kanavi's premier pick this split. It's the most played for him as well. It's been very dominant in a lot of the wins. This was a composition that they very much like, but it came down to very vast execution difference in that earlier part of the game that has led to this BLG complete and total victory, it feels like.
I just feel like let's not forget who BLG is for a second, right? There was a reason they were dominating 2024, one of the best, some of the best laners in the world, right? We're talking about like world's #1 contenders in 2024. They're still the same people. They're still so freaking mechanically gifted that if you make mistakes, they'll chop
Yeah.
your head off. And that's exactly what they've done right here to Top Esports.
Faker himself had to get out of his chair and smite BLG from that finals to make sure that the LPL could not find success. When you have to do that, you know this team is the real deal. Memes aside, BLG looking to make up for what has been a very disappointing 2025. Split 1 did not go their way. To come back and to make it into the bye in Split 2 would be at least a little bit of effort to getting back to glory for this team that knows that glory, that found that double championship last year, their first ever as an organization, and to go back to back. It's a much different team now with Beichuan, but can they do it against Top Esports? This game number 1, they absolutely can, but winning 2 games against this devastating team is the biggest difference. Top Esports putting on a hell of a defense right now, but it's not going to last for long. Chris falls, that's losing your frontline bodies, and BLG just counting the seconds until they can go backstage.
Yeah, double super minions running in just a little bit. Oh, on.
Equalizer. Oh my god, Beichuan comes in, goes straight for Kanavi, goes straight for the King's Head, and BLG will go to match point against Top Esports and make good on that first meeting and put Top Esports through their paces in game number 1.
I'm trying to hold myself
Oh yeah.
from saying things about Top Esports. I think, like, I feel like they had somewhere to be. Like, the way they were performing through laning phase. I'm looking at Crisp. I'm looking at Jackie Love. They were pushing like madmen. They were pushing like their life depended on them. Like, missing CS, not taking controlled trades. Like, we saw Suman's Way go up against Gala and Mako, and they absolutely dismantled them, playing that exact same matchup. And just, it felt like Crisp and Jackie Love just could not get this done. And I feel like, again, there was so much pressure on playing on a timer and constantly shoving and constantly making mistakes. And, like, again, BLG, when they're on a tear, you make mistakes, they'll take the entire game off of one laning mistake.
And that's why that 2-0 against JDG was so shocking, because this team had been firing on all cylinders and just dropped the ball. And now we're seeing that kind of pickup of the ball from them. And I love to see some of the team play we've already gotten from this squad. Getting to see them play together in that early game feels so good and so powerful. And honestly, it's a little microcosm of why Beichuan was such a big influence into the change of the roster, because he knows how to play and facilitate through these big stars.
Now, I'm going to take the positives and I'm going to turn them around.
Okay.
This was a fluke
negative
of a game.
Your smile
this was
into
a fluke
a frown.
of a game for Top Esports, right? I feel like when it comes to Top Esports, they have had so much thrown at them for their international performances. Domestically, kings. They managed to pull out the victories. They show up when it matters. They win titles. They're contenders for like first, second, all the time. Great, fantastic. But when it comes to those internationals, they have always been very heavily criticized, and rightly so when you come as the first seed from the LPL, one of the best regions in the world. I feel like these performances should not be allowed from Top Esports, specifically when you're walking into a series versus BLG. So back to the drawing board. I feel like laning phase was a really, really, really big sore point for Top Esports, and this is where they really need to work on if you want to go up against some of the most dominant laners that the entirety of the LPL has.
And I'm not going to lie, it didn't actually feel like the draft was that bad. I guess my biggest qualm was misfortune. That was not the difference maker. It was absolute decision making. It was the flubs from Kanavi and Crisp that really made the difference. And so I'm wondering what kind of iteration we get from Top Esports on the other side of things, because this was fully BLG favored, and they've got to find a way to play through this jungle that has been so dominant, Kanavi, and get these solo lanes off the ground.
I mean, he's got so many champions he can play through, right? And I feel like right here, you're going onto blue side. I commend BLG for putting Beichuan first. This never used to happen with like Wei and Shun. Like, maybe Shun would get B1 Vi, right? But that was it. But that was about the extent that it would go. But right here, they prioritized Beichuan. Beichuan played for them. They played through their win conditions. And again, these are the things that they punished in the early game. Miscommunication from top esports, something doesn't work. BLG will not just take 1, will take 2 kills off of it. They'll punish you.
Yeah.
They were constantly scouting in the jungle. The early game scouting, we didn't talk about it enough as well. They were constantly spotting Kanavi's movement throughout the entirety of the game, which is one of the most important things. We glazed the guy because he's just that good and he can change the game around. Know when you spot it throughout the entire game.
Yeah, it's so crazy how quickly things got out of hand, how offset top esports were. It never felt like top esports were in a fight that they wanted to be in or that they felt comfortable in. And a lot of times it was a fight that starts, they had to join members, they had to be a part and kind of get that re-synergy together. But this is a composition that loves team fights, that loves those big setup plays around objectives, and they were never able to do so. And I think that's just really good looks from BLG, knowing their strategy, knowing what top esports want to do, and not letting them do it.
I will say structurally, I do enjoy BLG's draft in general more because I feel like for Misfortune to interact with an environment where there's so many threats around her, like standing still to bullet time is a luxury that you're never going to get in one of those fights. And even if you do get to do that, there's so many like spells that pretty much negate bullet time and no one cares about on the set of BLG. So that's why like I frowned a little when I saw the Misfortune over the Jin right here. Obviously it wasn't a Misfortune thing that ended up losing the game for top esports, but in terms of execution, like BLG, even if that was even, they would have a much easier time to execute the composition in the skirmish and the fights that we're seeing.
Yeah, they absolutely would. But unfortunately, that was not the case here. Full objective control as well. Like the early grubs, the dragon, just getting the soul. Like it just all fell into place for BLG. And this makes you think, like, how confident are these guys if you're going to have now counter pick for potentially Knight or Bin. I know we've been seeing a little bit more supportal counter pick here as well with that first game, but you got to think with how much strength we see from the solo lanes already in this series as well, that they're going to be opting into that for game number 2.
Yeah, and actually something very interesting that I picked up from the first series, like both of the teams, when they played on red side, IG and FPX, they actually had 5 to 80 carries, which I find really clever, depending, of course, like what the early pick is. Like if there's like a Renata or something like a Nico, you can actually choose and pick like what kind of trading pattern you want with Enchanter. So they like leave 80 carries for R5, which I wouldn't be surprised seeing how dominant like Elk and On are if they manage to pick something like a Nico, for example, through that laning phase. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting because now BLG will have the quote-unquote upper hand in at least taking control of one lane of their choosing.
Yeah, and doing that, I think it's going to be really important for them to play around, but then finding a way to play around that as well is going to be extremely important. But BLG, I mean, they need one win, right? Could you imagine all that effort that IG went through in that first series to be all for nothing if BLG topples the Titans of top esports and Knight on his Annie will get MVP for game number 1?
Yeah, very early picked. It worked tremendously well. I feel like his roams were impeccable. He constantly kept shoving lane, using T-burst on cooldown, tried to get pressure through. Like, that was some OG Knight performance that we saw today.
It absolutely was. And BLG, they're starting off strong. They swing first, and they absolutely knock out top esports. We'll see if they can recoup and regroup for game number 2. This series is bound to go the distance. I feel it in my bones. As we're going to be going to a little break. We'll see you for game 2.
Welcome back, everyone, to LPL English, your unofficial home for everything LPL. I'm Mazel. I'm joined by Trouble. I could be more excited as I'm hoping this series is going to be a fun one. It's just now starting. We're getting into our first game here as BLG definitely didn't just trounce Top Esports 1-0 in the first one, right?
No, they definitely didn't. That was a placebo game that we just watched. And it was for Top Esports to get their 0-1 out the way so now we can truly see who they are.
Yeah, best of two here in the LPL. It's a normal, absolutely.
The classic.
What else is normal is MOBA Trainer. If you haven't heard, you should hear it as we do it every single day. It's a new app that teaches you League of Legends with a series of puzzles. Just boot up the program, choose a puzzle every day, work through it, and unlock more features. We're going to be bringing that up now as MOBA Trainer has been really fun. We're actually going to work through one of these puzzles right now. We're going to continue off where you guys left off in the first series as well. So
Okay.
let's go ahead and do one right now here before we get into the game number 2. We started off with a good choice there.
We were eating someone on the wall as Poppy.
Yep, and it works out. It works out. We have
level
one
1.
more choice in this one.
Oh, I'm so flashing.
Caitlin's kind of
after the
smurfing,
choice.
right?
I'm so flashing after the listen if I'm the Poppy. Oh, don't have to. Okay.
All right. So what do we do? We don't know how much
Wait,
gold we have.
camp, start blue. No, you wait camp. There's no way you start blue. Your bot lane is backing.
Camp's
so
up in what, 30?
There. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wait camp.
We're gonna wait camp, right?
Wait camp. Let's do it. Good choice. You're full on resources, and without gold, there's no reason to continue. We can go on to the next puzzle if you want to, Kai. I'm definitely down. Let's do random puzzle. That sounds fun. I always like randomizers. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Contesting Nasher. It's Reckless, my goat. He also just put out a video about the Uzi Hall of Legends thing. Let's go ahead and take a look. He's actually streaming there in the bottom corner. Love me some MOBA Trader with Reckless at the helm. What should Renata do here? So we're deploying from base right now. We're trying to walk out towards mid lane where we see multiple members. We'll see what the choices are going to be for us here as well.
It's a go to mid angle. Amumu dead, Kane dead.
Okay.
So we just
Not
walk
get
in,
vision,
right?
you sure? You sure? I knew it. I knew it. I knew it was gonna be get vision.
Okay,
I
but if
knew
you
it.
walk into 5 members, don't you die as Renata? I don't know. Look at the Akali. Look at the Akali.
But see, he's reckless.
He's immune to all that.
He's immune. All right, next decisions. We're gonna step up. We see them starting up the objective here.
I mean, right here you can step up, right? Actually, just a little bit.
All right, let's
little
step up.
bit.
Let's step
Let's
up
step
just
up.
a little bit.
Screw
Good
it, we're here
choice.
anyway.
We can approach Nasher cautiously. They get the vision down. And, I mean, this looks really good from this angle. Hostile takeover ready to go.
Victor stepped up a little bit too far. Whoops.
A little bit unfortunate there. Nemesis, you know, biting
Sivir.
dust. Huge.
Okay.
Okay. Do we
Oh,
recall?
it's one
or
of their.
start
Okay, it's one
Nasher?
of their scrims. Okay, bet. Start Nasher recall. No, Mumu is there. You start Nasher, no? Yeah, 4 dead.
You don't have much damage, but yeah, you could. All right, let's do it. Start Nasher. Good choice. Look at that. We killed 4 of them.
Wait,
at
so
us.
we're actually Cadril here, because that's a scrim. That's a scrim of Los Sartones, and we're Cadril. Bet.
All right, cool.
Apart from the
I
fact
like
that
it.
we've never cancelled
No,
an ult in our lives, right?
Really huge shout out to MOBA Trader. If you enjoyed that and you got to watch Reckless and be in the decision-making realm of Reckless, you can subscribe for 20% off and unlimited puzzles. You can see Reckless every day if you wanted to. If you use LPL 20 as your code, proceeds benefit the developers of MOBA Trainer, but also the LPL English product here. So you'd be doing us both a favor. But let's go ahead and talk about this game number 2, because this one's an important one for BLG. We set the stakes already. BLG win here against Top Esports, who have been oh so dominant on a 5-win streak to try to finish out this season on a 6-win streak. If BLG win, they take that 4th spot. They go into the playoff bye.
Yeah, absolutely. It's in BLG's hands, right? They're now the top 4 is in their hands completely. All they have to do is just take another game off of Top Esports, and then they solidify IG's spot as 5th as well. So they take down Do with 1 right here, and let's see as game number 2, Fearless. So everything that's been played before in game number 1 has been taken out. And let's see what actually Top Esports is going to prioritize right here. I wonder if it's going to be something like prioritizing plays for Kanavi right here potentially.
Should
or
be, honestly.
if they're going to choose to go with something like a very strong top laner that could also be the Yorick or Sion. Oh, never mind. Yorick's out.
The Yorick ban. Maybe the Sion joins him because without the the Yorick there. Okay, it's the Nidalee towards Kanavi. Could be 369, but let's be real. Kanavi is maybe the king of Nidalee at the moment in the LPL itself. We'll see what Top Esports want to go for their B1. We saw a lot of impact from the Pantheon last game. We'll see if 369 wants to whip out a classic for him in this Sion first pick.
It's 100% the Sion right here. I feel like it's really huge, the fact that Rumble and Azira are out. These are the two sort of AP damage dealers that can really chunk down a tank. So them two being out, I think like we're looking at 80 carries that can very easily take down things like Sion, which are Kai'Sa, Kraken Slayer build, like on-hit Kai'Sa. Lilia is okay-ish. She does have a lot of consistent damage in her kit, but BLG is going to need a lot of damage in general to take something like a Sion down.
Ooh, the Lilia does get locked in for Beichuan, so gonna need a lot of setup for him as well, but that clear speed gonna be at his back. Gonna see what that next combo is gonna be. This is another one in that on-hit build that can deal with that front lining. You lose a little bit of that range aspect of it, but the Varus locked in for BLG.
Yeah, not a big fan of Varus right here, especially if you do not have a lot of front line from the sort of BLG, and since you have taken off that tankiness from the jungle, that means you're going to have to rely to support and top laner to tank for you so that the on-hit Varus can come online, right? Which means that Top Esports will have a window that they can make plays before that Varus does come online. Kanavi, very bold here.
Let's go ahead and go to 3. Can we just go to game 3?
That's a pick that I actually wasn't expecting to be locked in that high up in prio, but with
Kanavi's
Viego,
Viego is terrifying. Is terrifying.
Yeah, so is apparently his Xin Zhao.
You ain't wrong. Hey, historically though, his Viego finds a lot of carry performances.
Back in my day.
And, back in my day. I'm screaming at the clouds, Trouble. All right, I'm leaving an old man. It is the Talia locked in for Cream, so a lot of play through this mid jungle duo, and the Yone is the answer right now for Knight.
So far, very passive from sort of BLG. I'm expecting this to be an on-hit Varus. With Yone, you're waiting to farm a little bit. So Top Esports definitely have a window in the early game where they can make plays. I'd like to see what they're going to choose to go for in that bot lane. You've got things like Lucian Nami. You've got things like Kalista Renata, as the Renata part of that Kalista comp gets taken away. Nico has been banned out. The other thing that can be really, truly dominant in laning phase that's been left open, of course, is that Lucian and Nami.
I like the Renata ban here to potentially take away that laning 2v2 aspect with the Kalista. We did see the Kalista ban last game as well. See what these final bans are going to be. I do like some of that focus towards Bin in the second phase, but really trying to follow through on the supportal bans for BLG, trying to take away some of those engage aspects, some frontlining as well. No, it's going to be the Ezreal locked away again, the premier pick for both of these ADCs.
I'm thinking what can truly really go up against the Sion. Like a lot of melees really do suffer. Maybe you can go for something like a Gragas, but that's too much AP towards the tops of the map. Things like Gnar, that Bin does play quite a bit, can actually do some damage in the early game as well. You also have an extra layer of engage. Right here, I think BLG really needs some strong engage tools. I'm even thinking you just go fight fire with fire, like brick with brick, and go for something like an Ornn here for Bin.
Ooh, that would be kind of nice. Yeah, they definitely need some centered engage to really set up the Lilting Lullabies, to set up the Chains of Corruption, things along those lines. They have that engage with the Chains of Corruption, but you definitely want to have multi-faceted CC chains for this sealed fate to come over top of it for Knight if you're really trying to play to success with what they've had for this Yone. It will be the Rel, so they will have at least the start of the fight in that big Magnet Storm combo, and BLG looking like a team fight special coming out here in game number 2.
I'd love to see Lucian Nami locked in right here for Top Esports as pure lane domination. You can play through side lanes with a Talia as well, so you've got that added element of having help over in the side lane. Where was that Jhin in game number 1? Well, it was being saved for game number 2. I'm actually a little bit worried because even though BLG do not have a lot of tankiness yet. If there's an Ornn locked in as R5 right here, who in the heck kills that Ornn on the side of top esports?
It's so hard. I mean, they are playing towards Kanavi. That Jhin lock-in for Jackie Love absolutely signals that it is going to be the Kanavi game, and that him and Cream are going to be the primary factors of how top esports want to handle this game, especially in that mid-game spike as well. BLG, they think just like you. Great combination coming through, and a great front line now with that Rel Ornn combo locked in the final parts of this draft for BLG.
I absolutely love what BLG have got going on right here. Not only does Ornn not have to commit his body for an engage, however, he also sets up for Lilia to have easier engages, Yone to follow up, there's a Magnus Storm, there is Varus ult, there's just so many CC tools that if they actually chain up from the side of BLG, I think top esports cannot move at all. There is like no chance to even cleanse anything because majority of them are knockups as well from the side of BLG, which does not get reduced by tenacity. So I feel like if BLG get to team fights, they've got so many tools to just immobilize even 369. If he walks up with like not many items in the early game, they can definitely take the Sion down as well.
They look damn good in game number 1 to try and take some of that momentum back and take a comeback over that loss to JDG 2-0 in their last series before this one. But I just love it, Trouble. We wanted to talk about these top laners. We want to talk about the legacy between these two, the back and forth that these guys have been the premier top lane head-to-head, and we get an oldie but a goodie. It's something that you throw back to 2022, 2023. It's Sion, it's Ornn, but it's Ornn for bid all these years later, and it's actually just insane that we come to that culmination here. But you also have to remember the stakes of this series. BLG, if they win here, if they manage to topple top esports, they secure themselves that top 4. On the other side, top esports trying to come back after that game number 1. They want that 6-win streak to go into that sunset of the playoffs very confident, riding high. Game 2 of BLG versus top esports kicking off now. The Teletubby. Can I please see that sign more, please? Please LPL China, please. I need to see BLG as the Teletubbies. He's so literally made an entire like portrait. Oh my god.
Yep. I'm gonna pick up where you left off on the top laners.
No, not about Teletubbies. Sorry.
Not the Teletubbies. Oh. If we see it again, though, we can pick it up from there. Back in MSI, what was it, 2023, I want to say. The one in London, it was 2023, right? I'm not tripping?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I remember 369 playing consistently tanks. And he was one of the best tank players I have ever seen in my entire life. As I'm saying, I'm going to hold on to that thought, because I think we're engaged into a 3v3.
Okay, I like this. Chris trading a huge health bar here, but going for this objective of top esports. Go for a little bit of the early invade onto BLG, set their tone. Oh, the crash down. Oh, this is huge though from BLG. Maybe they find it. Piercing arrow not up and available just yet. Elk gonna back away now. Did end up getting the flash and ignite from On. Chris just burning the ignite.
Yeah, while all of this was going on, Beichuan had already started taking his camps, right? So he took his Raptors while the bot lane was keeping busy with Kanavi and Co. So all in all, Beichuan did not necessarily lose much time. He just lost a buff, his blue buff. Back to the top laner topic, because we're like, oh, two of the best top laners in the LPL on Ornn and on Sion. I think 369 is probably like one of the best, if not the best tank top laner in the LPL, especially when we're looking at his 2023 MSI performance. Like, absolutely incredible, specifically on things like the Sion and the Ornn back then.
Yeah.
And right now, of course, when there's not many tank killers in the meta, I feel like tanks make so much sense, especially if you see like the damage speakers that they pull towards the end. And a lot of it is placebo, right? It's just tanks hitting each other the whole time over in the top lane. So it kind of inflates the damage. But then you see that Sion with 3 items hitting a Varus, and he just purely one-shots them.
Yeah, I think they're just absolutely ridiculous there. And honestly, Bin's going to have, on the other side of things, a big ticket engage for the entirety of BLG when these team fights kicking around. And this is a little bit of a contrast, it feels like, for BLG from Game 1 to Game 2, because in Game 1, they were very much the early game, mid-game focused team. They were going with very proactive plays, though I do feel like some of their scaling here feels better than top Esports'.
Yeah, I mean, Yone on its side lane, unparalleled to any other champion. You got Lilia, you got great scaling with the Varus, and the one thing that really concerned me at the beginning is how does this Varus truly ramp up? When we're talking about on-hit champions and on-hit AD carries, you usually want sort of like a tanky frontline that will buy you time for that on-hit champion to ramp up. And now you have the Rel, and you've got the Ornn, but most importantly, you have chains upon chains upon chains of CC that will also inherently buy you time. So things like the Lilia and the Yone, even though not tanky, they've got tools to buy you time to do that.
Oh, Knight's going to use his Soul Unbound, try to help out Beichuan, but this is the problem that can happen as the Lilia. Yes, you have good clear speed, but Viego will win those skirmishes, especially earlier on. So you see Kanavi feeling a lot more confident than he was in game number 1 to play that aggressive stance.
Doing that camp in the early game as well definitely helped, and right now getting back on the map with triple longsword in the inventory for Kanavi.
Oh, Knight's gonna die. Oh, goes back across the ground, but is just fine. Very, very close to going down. We'll have to pop the pots. Gonna force out Cream, though. They both have TP, so even if he's playing on the edge, you're still feeling good for Knight.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like if anything, top esports, now they're on a timer. Scaling when it comes to ease of execution as well as damage meters, I think favors BLG when we go to that late game. However, top esports have really good lanes that they could abuse to get ahead in the early game. You see that Jackie-Love and Craze have the pushover in the bot lane. Cream has really got great setup with that Talia to play for side lanes, to play for setting up kills in his own lane. So there is setup for BLG. Oh, Crisp!
That was a really nice dodge from On walking through, and then Chris just going straight to the minions. That's going to be flashed down for the Nautilus there as well, as Kanavi's going to go take the first dragon of the game for top esports.
Agree with the push from the sort of top esports down the both side of the map. As you can see, Cream is also sort of leaning towards the both side river. He's going to place a control ward, which means the both side belongs to top esports for the time being, as Beichuan is looking to invade on the tops of the map. Take that Grump away. Try to slowly but surely chip away some of those creeps away from Kanavi. Take them for himself as Kanavi is busy with the dragon. And now he's going to go back to base. What item are you picking up here? Because we have seen the Blade the Ruin King sort of fall off a lot. And then we're seeing a lot of Viegos move towards Trinity and Collector.
We're actually starting to see on the other side for Beichuan, his clear speed is actually picking up once he got the Faded Ashes. Unstoppable Onslaught's going to be used. They have the Weaver's Wall coming across to Beichuan. He has Flash, but he has no way out of this one. Flashes into the seismic shove. Oh my god. Top esports come away with first blood.
Yeah, a bit of a whoopsie right there for Beichuan. Kill goes over to 369 and On. He has spotted Kanavi. They do have some numbers around, but it's even.
They're going to try to get the Blight stacks onto Kanavi. Kanavi going down low. Going to flash out of the hail of arrows now. Elk going to flash too. Goes for the kill into Kanavi. Gets him in the end. Now Bin has shown up with On. Horn going to be popped. Who's he going to go for? Is going to activate it onto Crisp and takes him down. Now Knight also finds Cream and BLG. They're making mincemeat out of top esports. Oh my god. On's going to take the turret. He has to back away.
Wow, what a great turnaround right here from BLG. I feel like Elk and On played that perfectly. The patience from On to wait in the bush until Kanavi has showed up. They burn the flash from Kanavi, they take him down, grabbing kills onto this Varus. The faster with this Varus you get to those 2 to 3 items, the better it will be for your team. This is going to be your primary carry later on in the fights to kill that Sion, to take him down. And let's watch this one more time. Beichuan and Bin A little bit too far forward. They do not have the smite to take that Scuttle Crab. And the knockup right here will land from 369. Patron unfortunately flashes into the Talia W as well. So he ends up going down. It was just on the edge of the W, but still he ends up going down. And let's watch this one. On, very, very patient. Siskanavi invading right there. Crispy's wrapping around. But they're using the Rel and the Devourers to get onto Kanavi really quickly. The Ignite revealing him as well. And the flash through the W right here from Elk. Very, very well done to take Kanavi down.
Dude, really good combos there as well from BLG. The fact that they follow this through, Bin has no mana. He literally pulled, that's his last saving grace, and then he also get the pick. Then we look at live, and we see the grubs are already being taken.
Yeah, chain of correction missed right there from Elk, which will allow Top Esports to walk in a little bit more comfortably.
Oh, they're going to take the engage now. Chris goes in now. You got On going in with the double knockup as well. Cream trying to set up, double seismic shove there too. Now resets coming out from Kanavi. Kanavi's going to find another one here, but the deadly flourish, the combo with the curtain call is going to connect. On gets a little bit low. 369 will have to back away. The resets were not enough to continue through. Another deadly flourish is not going to connect there. BLG should make it out scrappily. As now On just staying over long, and seismic shove hits on both of them. On ends up falling, and so does Elk. Double kill for 369.
Just a reminder, Talia used to be a jungler as well. So even if your jungler cannot follow up right there, Talia will. I feel like Cream played that so perfectly. He held onto the W for so damn long that eventually Elk and On walked onto the same tile and ended up both getting knocked back. And let's watch this one more time. The chain of corruption from Elk goes super wide, which then allows Top Esports to walk in a little bit more freely. Incredible knock-up right there from 369 as well. Literally guards the entry and exit of that pit. And then Cream comes through with a fantastic knock-up as well, and the follow-up through here as well.
Oh, goodness gracious, man. You think that maybe BLG have some stake in the game here, but you start seeing some of the power that Top Esports' composition brings to the table. One reset for Kanavi makes a massive difference, but the biggest difference right now is Cream on Talia. He's found multiple seismic shoves that have just made the difference in a lot of these fights.
Man,
the double.
W was so beautiful. The second Elk stepped on the same land as On. That W that landed right there literally solidified their lives. Very, very well played. And again, I feel like Cream has been a player that's been very heavily criticized when it comes to Top Esports, right? And rightfully so. I don't think he turns up every single series. We're talking about Ghosts of Cream in a lot of the games, but right here on this Talia, he's truly present.
Yeah, he truly is, and that combination between him and Kanavi was ever important when we looked at the draft and how they want to set this up. And it sets up because it's kind of the counter of what BLG were able to pull off in that game number 1 between Knight and Beichuan. And now we're seeing that rebuttal, why this mid-jungle combination is so potent between these two top teams. And BLG, they need this win more than ever, and Top Esports going to make them work for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we talked about how BLG have like very good team fighting potential. Like if one CC chains up with another, no one moves from Top Esports. Top Esports have 3 knockups. If you follow up the Nautilus hook, the Nautilus ult into Talia knockup, into a Sion knockup, it's full of knockups as well, Chris.
Double TPs, Lilting Lullaby on the 3 here. Knight wants it. Sealed Fate into 1, though. They didn't get all of them, but Kanavi is the first target. Big 3-man knockup for BLG, and everybody's gone! They just found everything! And 369 gonna get flashed in front of by Bin, and that's a clean and total ace coming through for BLG!
Okay, that's what I meant when I said BLG have a pretty good damn team fight, because one chain of CC goes through, someone doesn't move. That someone was the entirety of Top Esports. Very, very well played. Great layering of that CC right there, and BLG back on the driver's seat. Let's watch it one more time. Crisp just walks a little bit too far forward. He's level 5, gets found by a level 8 Talia. They're pulling in the TPs right there, and look at this. A triple stun through the Talia ult, and then everyone piles up from Top Esports, and Bin gets a quadruple man knockup with the Orn into a flash Q from Beichuan. Fantastic play right here in BLG.
And it wasn't even the ulti. It was the wall bang knockup too.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Bin on this Ornn against 369, man. You can't write it any better. He does almost the most damage in the fight. And now BLG, they want more. Knight looking for it. Knight is getting terrifying now on this blade. The Rune King Spike. Crisp has to get out. And now piercing arrow right through the heart. Not going to be enough. The flash from Crisp gets him out to safety.
You know what? When you said that about Bin's Ornn, I just thought of the Drake meme where it's like, Bin's Camille? Nah. Bin's Ornn? Hell yeah.
That's absolutely what we'll take. And, you know, the new age of the top lane legacy between these two players obviously is starting to come to the fold here. We expected good stuff from 369 on the Scion. They go for this pick early. You need to pay off, and he is. He's 3-1-2. He's matching Bin. He has more CS as well. But BLG's team fights are just so deadly.
It's just a case of if top esports overextend and get caught right there, then it's just very difficult to evade all the CC from the side of BLG, and they also have a lot of damage, right? That's the scariest part about top esports. They do not truly have a tank killer. Kalia doesn't kill tanks, Jin doesn't, Diego doesn't. It's just becoming very, very difficult the later on we go into the game to kill things like Rel and Ornn. Especially when this Ornn has been keeping up, has been getting kills, has built a lot of defenses off the get-go. It's just getting harder and harder as you go into late game. However, BLG, you could argue the same, but they do have tank killers. Yone is doing fine. Varus is on-hit Varus, specifically curated build to kill tanks. And then you've got a Lilia for an AP damage addition on top.
Exactly that, and I think it's just so difficult to find your perfect entrances. And I don't think it needs to be perfect for top esports. Really, their win condition is getting a massive setup for Cream, but more importantly, resets for Kanavi. And speaking of, they're going to try to catch out Knight. He's dodging expertly out of everything, buying a lot of time, but nobody's coming to save him. He's going to go into the alcove. He's going to pop the Sealed Fate and maybe try to get out of here, but the depth charge going to follow him through the dash. And Kanavi will find the kill in the end. They're going to look for an outer turret in bot side.
Yeah, they're looking to push that tower over in the bot lane. What does BLG get on the other side of the map? The answer currently is 0. You'll see On getting a little bit more aggressive in the jungle, trying to get some more aggressive vision for this little BLG. And right now they're pinging the Rift Herald, so they're going to choose to trade that bot lane tower. They unfortunately cannot defend it from this little BLG. Great punish right there from top esports. Again, that setup between all the knockups that Talia, Nautilus, and Sion have to offer is very, very deadly to chain them up.
Yeah, I do like this, at least spatial control coming through from BLG as the counter answer to that setup play on the bot side. They do end up getting the Rift Herald. So not only do they have the 2 grubs here for themselves, but they're going to find a lot of gains on this top side of the map and keep the map dead even in gold. I mean, they have the feats themselves as well. They have that little bit of an advantage, but more so importantly, they have the standing gold left on the map by this Rift Herald play they'll be able to pull off.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it sounds a little bit of cliche, but in 1 minute, there's a dragon. You can absolutely use that Herald to create some pressure on the map. And even though it might not take a tower down, using that to purely pressure a wave and gain priority through that lane is very, very precious into dipping river, into getting control of those neutral objectives. So right here, BLG have sights on the next dragon, and they're looking to set down some vision for themselves.
And I can't tell you enough of how important this series is, not only for that playoff win for BLG, but to make sure that, you know, that win streak wasn't just a fluke. Yes, they went 5 wins in a row, but maybe it was just a change of atmosphere. Is Beichuan the real deal? That has been the question all along since he came from TT. Why is this super team bringing up this player from a team that is struggling so heavily? And now they find themselves on match point against top esports with a composition that gets better and better as time goes on. 17 minutes in, BLG, they are pushing the mold against top esports, and now they're pushing the pressure with this dragon setup.
Talking about pressuring, 369 is doing his best bounce performance right here, boxing between tier 1 and tier 2, trying to make sure that Ornn is busy under tower with another wave to come. Reminder right here, you need your tanks from both sides to enter this river. So Bin cannot just arrive, he has to be there to set up for his team. As you can see, 369 hovering around the Raptor camp. Oh, the tip is going to come in now for Bin.
Okay, interesting. Gonna see 369, you know, doing the Raptors as he comes across. But that second dragon will go the way of BLG, at least their second dragon they've gotten. And now they're going to try to get this bot lane outer turret. Again, scoop up some of this standing gold. They're even going to use the Rift Herald here, even though the turret should fall before it even gets the charge off. As they're going to use the charge onto the next turret, get the double charge here as well, as they're going to try to take it down. The Weaver's Wall not going to be fast enough. They do get the charge on the tier 2, doing a lot of damage there, and those 2 grubs doing work.
And you know how when Taliyah places a wall, it starts from where Taliyah is and suddenly starts building up towards the edge of the ult? You saw BH1 actually stirred the Rift Herald to drive around the wall that was being built by Cream. Really close by Cream right there to actually stop the Rift Herald from charging the tower. Luckily for top esports right there, their resets were pretty good. The second they saw the Rift Herald go down, they instantly reset. They defended that bot lane tier 2, so they ended up just losing one bot lane tier 1 for their troubles right here. And again, Cream and Kanavi have been paired up together with Crisp. This is what we're talking about the jungle support synergy for top esports. And again, the knockups between the two are actually deadly when they land.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Ooh, depth charge. Oh,
Okay.
nice. A little bit worried
Just got
there.
a little scared. Yeah.
A little worried. It's fine. Everything's fine. Another turret will end up falling, though, and this will even things up dead even for top esports versus BLG. Knight actually looking for a little bit of an angle now that he knows Cream doesn't have as much pressure as after he's used some of those abilities there, but very much more contentious game in game number 2 compared to that game number 1, and this feels like the start of the series that it should have been here with top esports having a little bit of favor now in game 2.
Yeah, I'm a little bit afraid for top esports in terms of they're going to play for side lanes, and Yone becomes a side lane god in the mid to late game. So they're playing for side lanes right now to try and punish with the Nautilus plus Viego Taliyah combo. They have been paired up as like 3 members the whole time, trying to punish or find picks or push towers over in the side lanes, but eventually you're gonna have to team fight. BLG are sitting on 2 dragons. 2.5 minutes from now, they're gonna be looking for a 3rd one as well. You're gonna have things like Baron and Atakan popping up on the map. Like, team fights will happen for top esports, and they're gonna have to figure out a way around them.
What I love is these team fights are going to absolutely come down to just mechanics. Like, if CC chains can be put down onto Kanavi, immediately top esports lose a ton of their win condition. But that's why you put Kanavi on his Viego. That's why you give this man the sticks, especially this season. He has been dominant in the jungle, and BH1 is truly at a test here against one of the greatest that ever has been in the LPL's history.
You set that up so nicely right before Atakan spawns as well. Both of these teams actually mechanically very, very, very gifted. Again, I'm just a little bit worried in terms of how the execution will look, especially now that shield wall has been completed.
They got the catch.
Cream?
They got the catch. They're going on to Cream. If they catch him, that's huge, but Kanavi's still looking for the reset. Sealed fade in. Knight gonna find the cleanups here as well. They get the double CC chain, and a double kill comes through for Elk. They're gonna go straight to the Atakan, and this has been how BLG cracked the armor of the Knights of top esports.
Yeah, you overextend right there again. BLG have so many tools to connect on target. Right here, BLG will chop up 3 members of top esports, take the Atakan as well. 1 minute for next dragon. And again, we mentioned how pivotal it is for both of these teams to not face check without their tanks. If Sion's not there, if Ornn is not there, you cannot be face checking because they are the primary face checkers for the teams. They are the ones creating the space. Right here, Cream. Oh, Cream, he just overextends right there. Bin and On, see him re-engage instantly. There's just nothing that can be done right there to actually save Cream. And even though Chris really tries, Kanavi tries, it's just, you see that when you layer the CC again from the side of BLG, it's just impossible to get out.
And you see how fast Kanavi goes down, too. I mean, the targeting from BLG has been lethal. And they did that all because they were on that 2-item spike. They did that all because they felt like it was the moment to strike, and that moment strikes true. 2,000 gold in the lead on the precipice of locking BLG into top 4. You cannot understand how much this means to the organization after faltering, after failing, let's be honest, in Split 1 of 2025.
And of course, coming off of a crushing defeat versus JDG 0-2, being the top LPL team to solidify themselves in the playoffs would be huge. Coming up next, the next dragon is up. 369 is actually grouped up with a team, and Beitron he actually has to find a way to get inside that river.
He's in trouble. Okay, well, BLG maybe falling a little bit asleep at the wheel. Bin going to be caught out here, but the Dragon already going their way. BLG will secure that one and go on a soul point. Now they want the engage. Oh, God. He doesn't get the reactivation. Now Bin is just locked in this CC chain. Chains of Corruption going to come down, and BLG want to turn it. Bin took all of that aggression and still didn't go down. But Knight is out of the fight now, though. Beitron gets re-engaged on. He's in trouble. Now the resets are starting to come through, but Kanavi has already gone down, too, to that big snipe by Elk. Bin going to dodge out. He's not going to go down. Come on, you got to hit the shot, Jackie Love. As Jackie Love is able to get that one down, he slows them down. Knight falls in the end. Cream going to look for Bin on the back end of this one. Deadly Flourish not going to connect, but Bin going to buy a ton of time here. Look at mid lane. It's going to be pushed by Elk. He's on 2 items now with the upgraded boots as well. He will be able to burn that down, and Bin just going to walk his way out. Going to find his way through. He's trying to get through from 369. Bin on the escape will not be able to. They do trade the turret in mid lane for it.
I mean, that is absolutely worth it, right? BLG walk out with a couple of kills, soul point, and very importantly, a mid lane tier 1 tower. Darkness will fall down upon top Esports' jungle and the early entrances to it as well. And this is the most important part right here. Let's watch this one more time. Bin, as you mentioned, isn't quite able to reactivate the Oran Horn. Beitron keeps tagging people around, but you'll see that while they focus on to killing the Scion, Beitron will split and play towards Kanavi. He'll tag, I think, Kanavi and Crisp right here with a Q flash, and the ult is being dodged by Kanavi's own ult. So half of BLG were fighting on the top side, another half of BLG were fighting on the bot side, and then when you have all this split happening, I feel like it really does favor top esports that don't necessarily want to be stuck in a front-to-back scenario.
And I gotta say, it's surprising how much damage Elk's piercing arrow does, even on this on-hit build. I mean, he's 6-1-5 now on this Varus, and if there's one champion, I feel like in the meta right now that can do damage with this setup, with these kind of lead, I mean, Varus is definitely one of the front runners there. At the hands of Elk, can he be the difference maker? As now Knight and On go for 369. You have to be a little bit careful on the back end of this fight, though, because all of top esports are looking from mid lane.
I mean, you could say the same for BLG. It's a 5 versus 5 around the Raptor pit. And both teams have been more than willing to fight for the least.
Oh, Chains of Corruption on Kanavi. Kanavi overextended. You put your hand in the cookie jar, and that thing had teeth. Knight bites down.
Damn. Overextension right there from Kanavi. And get another kill going over
You have to know that's
BLG.
coming. Like, this is their composition. That's what they do.
Really quickly right here, no smites. BLG are going to engage onto this Baron. On's positioning very crucial. He's looking for the flank.
Okay, double knock up there. Look at On. He's got that engage. Oh, God. The Horn coming in. And BLG's fight's looking so damn good. Knight's already down, but it does not matter one bit. Elk is completely untouched, and now Beitron overextends onto the other 2 members. A double kill comes through for Jackie Love. No Baron will go over to BLG then.
I mean, of course, Smite ends up going down. I think BLG were going to pull off the Baron no matter what, right? Because Kanavi was coming back up on the map. But a little bit of an overextension right there from Beitron, trying to force more of the kills, whilst BLG were actually super busy with the Scion Ghost or Zombie in the backline, trying to take him down. But something very, very important, ornaments have started coming through from the side of BLG as well. So add that on top of a gold lead as well. Of course, the first one going over to Varus. Now let's watch this one more time. 369 walks forward to try and get Kanavi in to grab that red buff, which is great. But I think the rest of top esports backs off, and I'm pretty sure that was a blind chain of corruption going through from Elk onto Kanavi. They take the jungler down, and then it forces a skirmish through that Baron.
And now we're on 3 items for major carries. Look at Elk. Look at Jackie Love. This is going to be a massive... Oh, they got him! Knight trying to catch out Cream. Cream's gone! Oh my goodness. What is happening? BLG are picking top esports apart.
I mean, again, if you look at it at any single way, playing sideline, BLG favored. Playing team fights, BLG favored. Face checking, BLG favored. It's just so rough for top esports. They need to make picks happen, even though they were actually camping for Knight. He juked them.
They're forcing
it.
it.
And BLG starting Baron again.
Okay, they're gonna. I mean, they have double attack speed carries. Like, you burn that down so fast. Kanavi gonna try to find the entrance, but here comes Bin. The knockup gonna stop his reactivation, but the Chains of Corruption follows again. And if there's one person that has had the biggest say in this entire game, it has to be Elk. He is a monster,
Kanavi?
and he's a crazy one. Kanavi going in, trying to get the resets now, though, but he will be burst down by Elk as well, who is still just pumping on this Varus. Jackie Love has no stake in the game, and back to Baron BLG goes.
And BLG with another incredible team fight, 9, 1, and 8 for Elk on this on-hit Varus. And again, we found when we saw the on-hit Varus, it's like, he really does struggle. He has to get ahead. He's not really good in laning phase, but BLG made sure that this Varus got ahead in laning phase as well. Their entire series has been flawless, from laning to macro to movement to team fighting. They're actually fighting back versus the first seed of the LPL, and Cream gets caught one more time.
Oh my god, he knew he was walking down. There's no vision from BLG there, and Knight just instincts it and knows that it's the time, and then afterwards the fight that kicks off. I mean, we have Dragon going over to BLG, and that is Soul of an Ocean Soul on top of that. If you take a look back at this fight, Ben gets denied, but look at Elk. You just watch this thing. He's literally untouched.
And again, that was the whole point, right? Like, having a Varus stand still, auto-attacking is a luxury that you usually don't have lately with like things like Zinzao and Pantheon disrupting fights. However, the front to back right here from BLG, the chain of CC that they have is just so useful to allow Elk to stand still and actually auto.
This is the epitome of the LPL. Top Esports looks so damn dominant. They were on the verge of going on a 6-win streak to finish their regular season. And here BLG is, after getting devastated by JDG. They know that this series means they can go into that next series against IG with a lot less weight on their shoulder. They get that top 4 if they beat Top Esports. And coming into the day, we thought that was going to be a hard task, but here they are with a scaling comp, outscaling Top Esports, out team fighting, out macroing them in a potential 2-0 sweep. Knight's going to be the engaged target now. He's going to seal fate his way away, and he is perfectly fine.
Wow, okay, that was a committed ult right there from 369. He's not going to have that, so one more layer of threat has been peeled off of Top Esports. And BLG are trying to use the Baron buff minions to actually hit towards that mid lane tier 1 inhibitor tower. Kind of difficult because they have Knight on the side lane, but now that it doesn't have flash or ultimate, you cannot overextend with the Yone either. So BLG are trying to find the correct timing right here to try and pressure that way.
Here they come. They want it. The final push could come through. They want to take Cream down here. Chains of Corruption connects. This could be the one fell swoop. Cream is going to go down after such a good early game. He is finally found again. And now Top Esports, they're losing their base. They're losing their structures. And BLG, imagine last split, that devastation, that disappointment that came from not even making it far in the playoffs. It is turned into a vicious viper that BLG are biting down at the Top Esports with. They want that top 4 finish. They want that bye in the playoffs. They want to return to dominance. And Billy Gaming are going to put the nails in the coffin of Top Esports. They're going to find their berth in the playoffs, and they're gonna find that top 4 finish. Billy are back, baby.
The most poetic finish, well, technical finish to their split, making playoffs right here, is the fact that it was all in their hands. It wasn't an easy task. They had to beat the best team in the LPL, and if that failed, they had to play at G, who are on fire. So their task was difficult to make playoffs, and they still made it. And what a freaking performance as well. Like I said, wake me up when 2024 BLG ends. I'd be sleeping beauty if that was the case, because that was flawless.
It's really incredible stuff. Again, the solo lanes really performing well here today. Both Bin and Knight finally looking a lot more like themselves, and you questioned what was going to happen after that JDG performance after Beichuan got fully found out in that one. But here today you see some great decisions. First, that it's the craziest thing is it was 2 different styles. We saw the game 1. It was all about early game. It was all about mid game. It was about syncing up Knight around the map with Beichuan. And this game number 2, it was about scaling win conditions that you got out in head of a comp that should have a little bit more power in the side of top esports. And you just masterfully executed the map. You found objective control, you found map control, and you found picks, more importantly. There was like 4, 5, 6 picks in that made the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the drafts made a bit of a difference as well. I felt like BLG had easier to execute drafts each time, and it felt like if top esports made a mistake, then it was kind of like impossible to get back into the game because like BLG outscaled both times, and of course that doesn't help. But again, that top esports phase that we saw today, it's kind of uncharacteristic because even the games that they lose, they still show fight. They're still very well in those games, and then they end up losing like a team fight or whatever. Like, we have very skilled players around in the LPL, right? And team fights can turn around at any point. However, they just seemed kind of lifeless today. Like, we didn't see Kanavi in full force. We didn't see Crisp and Kanavi together. Cream again, a little bit of a ghost on the Rift, and it's starting to get
his
a
early
little
game
bit
looks so
concerning,
good.
right?
Like,
It's
those
getting a little bit
seismic shots
concerning.
look so good.
You're going into playoffs. You are still the best team in the LPL. I think top esports have a lot to work around moving into that playoffs bracket.
The saddest part is we don't get to see them for a while, right? They have the bye, so they're going to be all the way through the playoff play-in, but then they're also one of the top 2 seeds, so going to be further on in the rounds as well. So I always say it. I always forewarn people every year, every split, honestly, it feels like one of the teams that has that long bye falters because of it. So we'll see if top esports can right those wrongs. But I got to say, praise to BLG, man. We had wondered if it was the real deal, if Beichuan was the second coming of a world star jungler. We were questioning why they brought this guy in. You see why the facilitation between these big stars, it pays off huge. And it wasn't through one style, it was through multiple styles. It wasn't against a weird composition from top esports. It was against their bread and butter. And this BLG team, they reached that precipice that was not known to them in that success from that last split.
To me, it's actually very wholesome how we talk a lot about how BLG solo laners can be a little bit selfish, right? And we went through an era, particularly in 2024, where everyone wanted to carry. And they did. They were like the upbringers of the style where there were 4 carries and on an engager. And that was it. Like, everyone's squishy. If on messes up, it's over kind of deal, right? And right here, Bin is taking a step back from carrying. He'll play the Ornn, he'll play the Sion, he'll play the Yorick, and then they prioritized Beichuan today. Like, they knew how important that matchup in the jungle was. They knew how important Kanavi is for top esports. Not only did they prioritize him in the first draft by B1 in the Pantheon, the second draft by drafting around Lilia and not necessarily forcing him to make the plays himself to make that Lilia work. I feel like it's a mentality shift for BLG, if anything else, by Beichuan joining the team.
And I gotta say, Elk heard all that shit talking about the solo lanes, was like, yo, I'm here too. The Varus actually came out so clutch, and I really like the Varus right now. Not only is it one pick that can kind of be very versatile, but it's just damn good, man. The health chunking from the Blight stacks, the amount of sustained damage you can do, and even on a lethal tempo build, you still have poke damage with those piercing arrows and the hail of arrows. So it was really expertly crafted from Elk, and honestly, it was his chains of corruptions a lot of the time that countered Kanavi.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I think top esports countered themselves a little bit in this series. However, you still need someone to slap that hand when you make a mistake, right? And BLG are like, you know, they're the number 1 team to do that. But again, from 2024 all the way to now, like, you'll make a mistake, they'll chop the hand off straight up. They're not just gonna slap it. Cream overextended, Crisp was overextending, Kanavi overextended for a red buff. I think it's just like top esports was in general just not online, I think, fully today, which is fine. You can have an off day. However, BLG will take those, right? Because they have solidified themselves in the top 4, and that's what they wanted.
Dude, it's so crazy. We'll talk about the standings a little bit later, but how the length of this double round robin has led to so many different fluctuations. Who's going to be the top team? Who's going to be? And we ended up back in the same familiar place anyways. But let's talk a little bit more about how BLG did this. A lot of the combinations came through clutch for them. Again, the combinations between Beichuan and Knight looked really good. On the counter of that, the kind of on Beichuan combinations looked way better and more in sync than the Kanavi Crisp combinations. And this makes this BLG team pretty scary going into the playoffs themselves and looking at what they can do, the pick differential. I mean, it was Bin's Ornn that beat 369 Scion of all things in 2025, which obviously something to say, but it was really expertly crafted from BLG across the board.
Yeah, and I feel like for BLG, we said one step at a time, right? I feel like when they were on a losing streak, it kind of like hits your mental, you forget how to win. How did you start winning in the first place? Are you good enough to compete? Maybe people have gotten much better than you, right? You had the best solo laners in the LPL, arguably in the world. Is that still the same? Are you still as skilled? The meta hasn't changed much. You still kind of play the same champion. So there's all these like question marks that fly about, and I feel like with the addition of someone new in the team in general, there's like a mental shift, a momentum shift, and it showed here for BLG. The number one thing in steps back to success was, hey, let's start winning games again. Find ways that we're winning games again. They've done this multiple times. Then the next one's like, hey, can we maybe get top 4? Can we solidify themselves in the playoffs? Check that off the list as well. I feel like their journey in playoffs is going to be in finding success to potentially really get back up to that top 2, top 1 spot for BLG.
Yeah. And we know that's their goals. They didn't pick up Beichuan to be a middling team, to be an average team. They believe this guy is what's going to get them to that championship, to get them to those internationals. And I think it's very important to highlight that this team is ramping up. That JDG loss, it felt like a fluke at this point after watching these dominant 6 wins since Beichuan joined the team. We'll see who gets the MVP, but I have no doubt it's going to be Elk this time around.
I mean, okay.
It's Bin!
I was about to say, I think Bin played
I don't know, bro. Those chains of
well
corruption.
in this game.
He did,
Okay.
but those chains of corruption literally
Listen,
won
man.
them the fights.
Choosing when to be in lane, when to be with your team. He's engaged, he's disengaged.
It's the narrative aspect.
The way he used the knockups as well, instead of ulting a lot of the fights, I think like it showed absolute mechanical prowess. And I know it sounds stupid because he played Ornn, but he played it so damn well.
It's the
You know
narrative,
what?
man.
All
It's
Elk,
the narrative.
Listen, man.
It's
All
the
Elk had to
narrative.
do was just stand behind him and auto tag. Okay.
No, it's the narrative. It's the fact that Bin beat 369 with Ornn. That's literally the only factor. That's what I'm gonna have my cope behind. But
Who's the best
we gotta
Ornn now?
Apparently, all these years later. Let's talk about the standings here, though, because I think it's really important to highlight, even through all of IG's struggles and tries and the bold attempt in that last series to keep things going, BLG needed one series win. They got it. You will see as our entire playoff standings are going to be solidified in terms of who's going to be top 4 and the bottom 6 at least. The fluctuation is still possible there with the last 2 days on the line, but after, as I foreshadowed to earlier, it's crazy that after all these fluctuations, after all this craziness, we had FPX up in the top 4 at one point. We had Team WE in that middle moment. We had IG trying to push in that top 4, but in the end, it's still top esports. Anyone's legend, which is probably the biggest shakeup there, JDG and BLG as the top 4 in Group Ascent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I felt like top esports and the AL were like in another world for quite a while in Group Ascent, and it felt like it wasn't just very easy to tell who was the third team. Like every single team you've mentioned from Group Ascent, on a good day, they looked like the third best team in the LPL. Hell, they look like the best team in the LPL full stop. I feel like this is why Group Ascent is so much fun. It's not, oh, the first team lost to like the 8th or 9th or 10th team. Like, they're actually damn good. Like, they show up on a good day. Like, they're very mechanically skilled. And I feel like this is the essence of the LPL. That's why it's so much fun, because no match, no best of is going to be dull or boring.
And I gotta say, you gotta look at some of the specific numbers here. Not only like the drop off of wins and losses from IG to Weibo in that next set, but you also have to look at the difference in game score that just immediately skyrockets as you go down the bracket here. Obviously, TT not having a very fun time of it, but that's our group standings. At least we still have a couple days, some fluctuations in where you'll be placing in that bottom 6 there. But congratulations to Billy Gaming for securing that top 4 playoff berth with the bye on top of it. Trouble, any thoughts going to the last couple days of the LPL?
First of all, I don't know where the time has gone, which is crazy. I am so damn excited to see Billy finally back in form, having a momentum shift, a mental shift. I don't know and I don't care what it is, but I'm just so happy that they're back, and now we have even more teams to be confused about because we actually
Absolutely,
don't know who is
and
the
we don't get
true
to
number
see
one.
them for multiple times. Like, it's fine. We get to check in a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's fine. It's
Absolutely,
fine.
I'm sold. I'm sold.
Playoffs is going to be an absolute banger. We still got a couple days left, obviously. Just a real quick shout out before we get going, though. Thank you very much to our coffee supporters, our elite coffee supporters, Aaron, Soup, Mung, and Forrest. Without their pledged financial contribution helps level up the show in so many different ways. The broadcast package, but as well as paying the individuals that volunteer so much of their personal time to this product. We give because we love it, and we appreciate you all so very much. So please go support us. The link will be in the chat as well. But really big shout out to those 3 for giving us something and being a part of this journey here. Trouble, thank you for being a part of the journey here on the day. The second series was a banger. The first one was a banger as well. A little bit of an upset here for BLG, forcing a 2-0 sweep over top Esports. But our playoffs are set, and we have 2 more days of the regular season left to go. We'll see you there, and we'll see you on Summoner's Rift.